How's that for a slice of fried gold?
You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
I'll be back.
Just a flesh wound. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
Take your sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
I'm sorry, Ben. I'm afraid I can't do that.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare.
Hey, we're here.
Hey,
We did it.
Hey, we did it. We're live. We're a couple minutes late because let me tell you guys something you might not know about Gary Horn.
Let me tell you about Gary.
Gary operates on what's called Gary Standard Time, where he just does everything 12 minutes late. So
That is accurate. Yes.
I know. I've known you for a very long time.
Listen, we all have our shortcomings. Mine is technology.
Yeah, which is great for an aspiring podcaster.
Yes. I'm firing on all cylinders, guys.
Well, welcome to. Do we want to call this our first official live stream? The last one we did was just kind of I don't know. We were just kind of goofing around and stuff. So
Listen, it counts. Was there a logo up?
no,
We look at this.
no, there wasn't.
We got the background.
Yeah, we got the background. We had the music. All
I'm
three
still
of
in
us
my
are
junk
here.
room, so I don't have a cool green screen like Gary yet. But one day I'll upgrade this.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to everybody who's joining us already. We thank you so much. And please share, tell everybody what's up, Wyatt. Thank you so much for being here, buddy. And this is Cinema
Wyatt.
Shock Live.
Woo!
I see you.
That's
And so here we are. We got a main topic today, I guess. Well, first of all, I'm one of your hosts, Gary Horn.
Hey, I'm Justin Bishop. You can see my name right there.
Not as easy as you'd think.
There it is.
It's a real pain in the ass to make that work. So here we are. But if you're new here,
And that's Todd down there.
Yeah,
you're seeing us for the first time,
I lay the shit before you. My name, right here.
make sure that you subscribe. We'd love to have you
Yes.
as a subscriber and hit that like button. It would be great to have you as part of the crew, the community, the movie and fan community thing that we are, whatever it is. I don't know. We're talking about, we got a main topic today, and the main topic is the Disney Plus announcements of all these new things that are coming out. But we see your chat, we see your comments, and make sure you jump in there. And you let us know what you want to talk about. Welcome, Dave Scooby. He is
Dave.
he's a hashtag NWA fam.
Nice.
And, is
Hi,
this
Dave.
the Bearded Trio version 2? It is, Dave. This is the.
Technically, we were version 1. We were a bearded trio long before those other two goofs joined Gary on his wrestling gig.
That's very true. Very
The
true.
important part to know is that I just don't connect with anybody that doesn't have facial hair. That's just
Including his wife. She doesn't watch these. So.
Here's the thing. Gary took a picture of her pooping earlier, so he's already in the doghouse, folks.
I
Gary,
walked up here with a bottle of tequila, and she was yelling at me as I walked up. I was like, "Bring that tequila back!"
Was it because she didn't want you drinking it, or because she wanted some?
It was mainly because she was worried that I would sit up here and talk to you assholes for 3 hours and drink it the whole time and just finish it off.
She's not wrong.
I know she knows you, Gary.
Although I am a little disappointed. It seems like she's leaning into that stereotype a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, bring me that tequila, you asshole, you gringo. Come on.
Yeah.
So Gary, explain to our viewers what are we going to do with these live broadcasts? What's the deal here? What the hell is this? How is this different from our podcast?
Well, it's just
Other than clearly having less of a plan.
Yeah, we definitely will always have less of a plan. We'll have a topic idea, but also it's just another way for us to really engage with the folks that might be interested in talking to us. And so just puts us out here in another way. If you look at the YouTube channel, if you subscribe to it, I'm slowly getting the episodes loaded on there so you can see the podcast episodes. But YouTube grants us the position to communicate to you in a different way. In the video format, you can see our beautiful bearded faces and talk to us about whatever you want to. And it doesn't have to be one set movie this time around. It lets us talk about mainly the current events that are going on in the world. Entertainment
in the movie
related.
world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, entertainment related only.
I was going to say, if you think we're morons already, if you're asking us to comment on current events, you're going to be, it's just going to solidify those thoughts of like, these guys are idiots.
On our regular podcast, we have a topic every week. We talk about a movie. We take deep dives into the making of those movies. And this is and most of those are older movies. I think as of right now, the most recent movie we've talked about on the podcast is from 2012, and the oldest is from 1968, I believe. So, and everything in between. So we talk about a lot of older movies on there. But this kind of gives us the chance to talk about current movie news, maybe even current movies that we've watched and things like that, things that we're checking out that might not be getting covered on the regular podcast anytime soon. So, and there's a lot of cool movie news out there, even in a year where movie theaters aren't open. There's a lot of Hollywood is very optimistic right now because they keep announcing shit left and right. And Disney this week made a bunch of big announcements. So, and I'm sure most of you, if you're movie fans, which if you listen to our show, I assume you are, then you've probably heard all this shit. So we're not probably going to tell you anything new, but we're going to give you our insight into it, I guess is the best way to say it. But before we get into that, guys, real quick, have you guys been watching anything cool this week? Any fun movies or TV shows or anything at all?
The wife and I have been working our way through Schitt's Creek, and
God damn it, it's so good.
It's really good.
We get to the part when we let you know that also this will be adult conversation, I suppose.
Yeah.
We're
Well, speaking of which, the only thing in terms of Schitt's Creek, I remember Dan Levy going on Fallon, and they to promote Schitt's Creek, but they weren't allowed to say the name of the show in the interview, and it made it really difficult. Then they ended up going to commercial, coming back, and they had a card with the logo of the show Schitt's Creek on it. So every time they said the title Schitt's Creek, they had to hold up the card.
That's so weird.
Yeah, and so flash forward to probably I don't know 2 weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? I've been hearing a lot about this. I think it just ended. Let's jump in. Why not?
It's a great show,
I think we're in season 3 or 4, and it's a blast. It's really a lot of fun. Yeah.
And we don't binge watch shows. We just don't. But I don't know. That movie, or I'm sorry, that show, first of all, I was already on board because Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, who I've been a fan of for a long time. A lot of people kept telling me, hey, you've got to watch the show. You got to watch it. This is definitely your kind of thing. And I wasn't really putting it off. I just didn't have time to watch it for a while. And I finally did. Me and my wife we blew through the whole show pretty quickly. And the thing about it is that it is as funny as you expect it to be with that cast. But it also is like the character development on that show compared to what most typical sitcoms.
Yeah.
From season 1 all the way to the end, everyone grows as a character, which is something really cool to see in a sitcom. And I love it. I just love that show.
I was really concerned that I wasn't going to like it off the bat just because they all seemed like really unlikable people. But
you learn to love every single one of them.
Yeah. The idea, from the word go, and this isn't really a spoiler. It's, from the word go, they've already had the legs cut out from under them. So they're already having to hit rock bottom and slowly work their way back up. And it's funny. It's funny anyways, but the character development, like you said, is really fascinating. And you've got some brilliant performances in Chris Elliott, Eugene Levy, and Catherine O'Hara especially.
Yeah.
It's, if you haven't watched it, if you're between binges or, just looking for, a nice something to watch after dinner, I highly, highly recommend Schitt's Creek.
Yeah. Gary, you've watched it too, haven't you?
Oh yeah. I've gone through the whole thing. It is
There again, I'm the last one to the party.
it's great. No, it's one of the best shows. It's super funny.
It really is. And you know, Annie Murphy, who plays Alexis, was like the revelation on that show to me, because she had never done anything really. She was about to quit acting actually before that show. Wow. Because she was like couldn't get any parts. And she kills me. She is so funny.
Yeah.
I love her character. And I will say, Todd, once you get to the end of the series, there's a documentary.
Yeah.
It's only about 45 minutes long. Highly recommend watching it. You will cry. But it's like happy tears. You'll cry happy tears.
Okay, good.
It's definitely worth watching. It's really good.
Nice.
Gary, have you been watching anything cool lately?
Wrestling, a lot of wrestling, so much wrestling.
That's your job.
Yeah. But other than that, I have been in the Christmas spirit. I've already watched Die Hard. I've gotten into the groove with a bunch of different Christmas movies. Almost right before this, watched Holiday in Handcuffs, which is an annual tradition.
Oh, yeah.
Weird tradition, but
it's there. And but no, we even went so far as to legitimately, and I'll only share this here since it's our first ever live show. We got on Disney Plus and we watched the Disney Holiday Sing Along and sang along with it in the living room.
Wow. I was looking at that last night, and just because I was curious I was like, oh, who are the stars Disney has? It's like Andre Bocelli and Ciara, who I didn't know was still relevant at all. Michael Bublé is on it, I think.
Hey, Ciara's hot, and she's married to Russell Wilson. So,
yeah, how about that?
Do any of you have, speaking of holiday specials, do any of you have a favorite holiday special?
For the record, Jennifer,
like not movie?
I said we sang along together. Oh, you're saying I didn't really. Well, I was embarrassed to sing along, even though it was us, but I did sing along. So she's giving me crap about that.
I mean, I probably wouldn't have, because that's who I am as a person.
Also, there were some weird versions of the songs, and
it's hard to keep up.
Who was Aaron Burr in Hamilton? I'm trying to think of his name. It starts with an O, I think.
Oh, Leslie Odom.
Leslie Odom, yeah.
So
he does what's this? What's this? There's magic in the air.
Oh, cool.
He does that whole
fun.
song.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Have either of you seen the Muppet Christmas special with Lady Gaga?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But I really like the Muppet special from the 80s that I watched as a kid.
Where they all go to Fozzie's mom's house?
Or grandma or something. Mom or grandma. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I loved that when I was a kid.
It's the Muppets, Sesame Street, and
Fraggle
Rock.
Yep, everyone.
Yeah. Oh,
it's the whole Muppet cinematic universe and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't watch a lot of those like holiday specials. I watch a lot of movies, Christmas movies this time of year. But I did really like Casey Musgraves' from last year. That's on Amazon Prime. It's really good.
I dug Bill Murray's that he did.
That Murray Christmas.
Yeah. I really dug that because I mean, it's just kind of a cool. It's kind of a cool vibe, and anyway, I dig it.
Anyway, Jay Cal says he's here for the MCU chat. We're getting there, buddy.
We're getting there. It'll be soon.
Wyatt here saying, not cool, but I got fascinated by Urban Cowboy. I can't decide what genre it is. I'm leaning toward it is a sports movie.
Well, okay. I mean, Urban Cowboy is, it's what's not cool about it. Urban Cowboy is good. My dad was telling me a story yesterday when we lived in, I grew up in Baton Rouge. And when we lived down there, during the filming of Urban Cowboy, my dad met John Travolta at the airport because John Travolta's a pilot. He has his own plane and stuff. He has his own plane. And he was actually at the airport, because my dad was on a private plane and not his own, but he was on a private plane. So they were in the area where the private planes land. And John Travolta was there in a jumpsuit, like a mechanic's jumpsuit, because he was working on his plane or whatever, his own private plane. And my dad met him there, and it was during the filming of Urban Cowboy. Oh wow! And he said he was a super nice guy. So, have you seen that John Travolta commercial with Sam Jackson where there's like Santa Claus?
Yeah.
No.
It is
That's
weird.
stupid.
It's very
so
weird.
weird. He does the Pulp Fiction dance with Mrs. Claus. It's
Oh,
very
yeah.
strange. I watched
Hey,
Not a
can
Christmas
you know
movie.
who plays Mrs. Claus in that? Because I was trying
Not
to
a
look
clue.
and
No.
trying to find out.
No, I
If
don't know.
anybody out there knows, please hit the comments. Let us know.
I didn't recognize her. I watched a movie this week called The Sound of Metal, and I think it might be the best movie of the year that I've seen so far.
Really? Wow, that's high
It
praise.
stars Riz Ahmed, and it's about this guy who is a drummer in a metal band. It's him and his girlfriend. It's like a duo. She plays guitar and sings. He plays the drums. And early on in the film, he loses his hearing. Like he just all of a sudden, like he's at a show and his hearing just goes. And it's kind of about him.
I think I saw
dealing with
ads.
that.
Yeah,
the
I think
movie
I
is
saw ads
basically
for
just
that.
him coming to terms with that and how he's gonna how it's gonna affect him and how he's gonna deal with it. It's really good. And Riz Ahmed gives probably my favorite performance I've seen this year. I will be highly surprised if he doesn't get some Oscar recognition for it.
Where did you watch it? Is it streaming anywhere?
It's on Prime because it's an Amazon
Prime?
Studios
Oh, okay.
movie. Yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I
So
think I
it's on-
saw ads for that. I'll have to check that out. It did look cool. So.
it is outstanding. Really, really good. Well, guys, do you want to go ahead and get into our topic for today? We're talking about
Yes.
the Disney news roundup. We're going to get the MCU stuff. So, hold your horses for a minute.
What is
But,
happening?
Oh, no, wait. Wait, I looked away for a second, and when
Our
I looked
viewers
back,
are dropping. Our viewers are dropping rapidly.
we're just gaining a whole new demographic, is what it is.
That's right. Hey, listen, Justin's the brain, Gary's the brawn, and I put out the vibe.
So earlier this week, we talked about this on our last stream that Warner Brothers made their big announcement about all their whole 2021 slate going straight to, or not going straight to HBO, but simultaneously streaming on HBO Max when they come out. So Disney saw that and said, "Hold my beer." And at their investors meeting this weekend, they went fucking ham. Like they did not hold back. They announced some stuff that we already knew about. They confirmed some stuff that we had heard about, but that had not been officially announced. And then they announced a whole bunch of stuff that nobody had a clue was in the pipeline. So we're not going to go over all of it. I'll go ahead and say that because it is a lot, and there's a lot of stuff that I just don't personally give a shit about, and that I don't think would make a good conversation here. But there's a lot of cool stuff coming. We're not going to touch on the ESPN Plus stuff. We're not going to touch on the Natural Geographic stuff. That stuff is cool, but it doesn't really fit the Cinema Shock brand. So we don't think our viewers really care as much about that stuff. But we're going to focus heavily on obviously the Star Wars and the Marvel stuff. But before we do that, they did announce a few new shows that were coming to FX because last year FX and Hulu signed an agreement. There's a thing, if you sign into Hulu, it says FX on Hulu, and there are these shows from FX that stream exclusively on Hulu. Like that's the only place you're going to find them streaming. And now Hulu and FX are both primarily or either all out owned or primarily owned by Disney. Because Hulu was owned by multiple studios and Fox owned a big part of it. Disney owned a big part of it. When Disney bought Fox, Disney became the majority owner of Hulu. So they essentially own Hulu. And of course, when they bought Fox, they also bought FX. And it seems like that FX is where and Hulu those are where they're going to be releasing their more adult oriented films that are not suitable for their Disney brand name, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the Disney Pornhub, basically.
Yeah, essentially. So they announced a few TV shows. They didn't give a lot of information about any of them. They just kind of announced, hey, these are coming to FX. But there are some cool ones that I thought were worth mentioning. One is one that I had never heard of called The Old Man that stars Jeff Bridges as a CIA operative or a former CIA operative who has to kind of come back in and gets kind of sucked in. That's all they really talked about.
Quit drilling, you struck oil. That sounds awesome.
I know. It sounds great. Jeff Bridges as a retired CIA operative, I'm in.
It sounds like what Red should have been.
Red was pretty fun. The first
Red
one.
is fun.
Yeah.
But I've read the comic.
I gotcha.
This sounds closer to the comic. This sounds closer to Cully Hamner's book.
There is a new spinoff for American Horror Story, if you're into that, which I'm not a big fan, but I know some people are, called American Horror Stories. I don't know how it's going to be any different from the original one, since the original one is already an anthology series. I'm guessing maybe each episode is a separate, like, short, like Twilight Zone or Creep Show type
parts, like the whole show should really be anyway, just like all 3-part stories instead of
instead of stretching it out
for like 6 episodes, and then they always stop caring
every single time. There's another new anthology series coming from BJ Novak, who we all know from The Office, of course, but this is a drama series called Platform. There's a new half-hour comedy called Reservation Dogs. It's about some Native American teenagers who live on a reservation. That's coming, and it is co-created by Taika Waititi of What We Do in the Shadows, Thor, and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's a new version of Shogun based on the James Clavell novel, very famous novel that was adapted into a miniseries in the 70s. FX is turning it into a full TV series. Why the Last Man is finally coming. It's been in the works for as long as I can remember.
Wow.
This version actually seems to be in, like, they've already started filming. Diane Lane is in it. I don't know who stars as or Uric, or that's his name, right? Uric. No, I haven't. It's been years since I read the comic.
It's been a while.
But
I'm hip deep in Sandman.
I can't even think straight because of Todd's nipples.
Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerra, they created the comic book. Highly recommend it. One of the best comic books out there. Brian K. Vaughan's my favorite comic book writer. So I'm a big fan of Why the Last Man. I'm very excited to see it finally come. And I'm really glad it's coming as a series and not trying to cram it into a 2-hour movie. There's a new Alien series based on, like, the Ridley Scott movie, based on the Alien franchise, from Noah Hawley, who was the creator of the Fargo TV series, and he did Legion, both of which are incredible. Right. He's doing an Alien series. There are no details on when that's coming or what it's going to focus on. From what I've seen, it's going to be set on Earth, I believe. So I don't. Cool. I would normally be very hesitant about exploring that world because, hell, when Ridley Scott went back to it, we got Prometheus, and that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence.
Have they said whether or not the Predator franchise will be integrated?
I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. But
did you guys see the thing I posted earlier this week about the comic book version of the original screenplay of Alien 3?
Yeah, by William Goldman. I'd like to check that out.
Yeah,
it is Yorick. Thank you, Wyatt.
Yeah,
Yorick.
thanks, Wyatt.
I was right. I was right. That's what I said, right? Yorick.
I think so. I don't think you said Uric or something. Like you were
okay.
thinking
well, I was close.
From Metallica.
Close enough.
But the thing with the Alien series that I'm excited because it's Noah Hawley, because I think Noah Hawley is awesome. I think he's super creative. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. So all of those will eventually stream exclusively on FX on Hulu. So I just wanted to mention those because I feel like those are TV shows that I know I'm very interested in watching. And I know that some of our viewers probably will be as well. But let's move on to
most, if not all of those.
Let's move on to Lucasfilm. Lucas, have you heard of them? Lucasfilm. They've made some movies.
Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Happy Hanukkah. So a couple of new series. We'll start with the Star Wars stuff because it's mostly Star Wars stuff.
Oh, that Lucasfilm. Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right.
So there are a couple of new series coming, a couple of new TV series coming. Now, but before we get into that, I will say a lot of this stuff is very heavy on Disney Plus. They are pushing the hell out of Disney Plus. They're going all in. I mean, they said a few months ago when all this pandemic shit was, a few months in already, and movies started getting pushed out. Disney said that they were going to put they were going to make streaming their number one priority going forward, and they have delivered on that promise with these announcements because there are certainly plenty of things coming to theaters, but there's a lot more coming straight to Disney Plus. So, you should subscribe if you're not already. because if you want to watch any of this stuff,
Yeah.
you're going to need to.
Here-
So
I think especially guys our age, a little older, and definitely younger. They're even if I'll never watch it. No, there's a shit ton of stuff. Because
it's a great library.
when Kat and I are eating, Saturday morning cereal, we're turning on Gargoyles. I mean,
Yeah, that's fun.
that show holds up, man.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty good.
So a couple of the new series that they announced that are coming to Disney Plus are set within the timeline of The Mandalorian, because The Mandalorian really is like the centerpiece of Disney Plus right now, as it should be. It's an incredible
It's
show.
the centerpiece of Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
It is. It was a gamble they took, and man, it has paid off, because it helps that they've gotten some really great creatives involved with it.
Mhm. I've been
So-
watching,
and it's funny because as
that docu series where they're talking to all
the gallery,
directors.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
the
great.
gallery.
And as we discuss these projects, you'll hear some names come up who are people who have directed episodes or in some cases multiple episodes of The Mandalorian. It's almost like they're using it as an incubator, both for filmmakers and for ideas, because in one recent episode of The Mandalorian, for instance, we got what is basically what they call a backdoor pilot. Which is when a TV episode introduces a new character who will later get
that
their
your
own.
nickname in high school?
But the show that I'm talking about is, of course, Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I did that thing, Gary.
Nice.
Right, look, hey,
Look
Hey.
at that. Yep.
Hey.
I'm still here. Ahsoka,
Interesting.
starring Rosario Dawson,
Nice.
who,
Very
if you've been watching The Mandalorian, she showed up. Spoiler, I guess, but you should be caught up on Mandalorian anyway. But Ahsoka showed up and was predictably badass. I mean, she was incredible. And even as I was watching it, and because they plant some story seeds in that episode of her further adventures, and
Mhm.
even when I watched it, I was like, it feels like they're setting up like her to have her own show.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's exactly what they were doing. So I hope that Katie Sackhoff's character shows up in her show, or at least shows back up in The Mandalorian, because I think she was great.
And Sasha Banks.
And Sasha Banks, yes. It always comes back to wrestling. I'm a huge fan of Sasha Banks. Between Sasha Banks, Rosario Dawson, and Katie Sackhoff showing up, The Mandalorian has featured 3 of my biggest celebrity crushes. And so I'm all in on all of these stories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
know
got
what they're
one of
doing.
my big crushes, Carl Weathers.
Hey,
Who could blame you?
who can?
Apollo is the man. It's the guy. I just forgot his name. The lead in Mandalorian. He's gone now, right? Like he's
Pedro Pascal? No,
Yeah.
he did not. No, that was the only place that news appeared, Gary,
Oh,
was in an article. There was a rumor that he was going to step down, and it was on a website called We Got This Covered. And We Got This Covered, I will tell all of our listeners, if you see a link from We Got This Covered, don't click it. They post bullshit that gets clicks that has no basis in reality.
Yeah.
They post rumor as if it were fact, because it gets them clicks, and they get shared on Facebook. But no, he has not left the show.
Good,
okay.
because Pascal's awesome.
He's great.
He's really
So
great.
the other series that they announced that's also set within the timeline of The Mandalorian is one called Rangers of the New Republic, and that's all we got. They gave us a logo and they gave us a title, and we don't know anything else about it. We don't know when it's coming, we don't know what it's about. But it's a new Star Wars show that's
is it
coming to
the-
Disney in one day.
Was it the guys in the X-wing shooting down Mando's ship? Those guys?
No, I don't know. It doesn't say.
Oh,
Nobody
doesn't
says.
have- Oh, okay.
No, I
Well,
don't.
no, wait. I did. I think I know what you're talking about, Todd. One of these shows, either the Rogue Squadron one or this one, those guys. There was an article that featured like those two guys in it, like implying it seemed like that they were going to be a part of one of those shows, and I don't know which one, but and I don't know if that's true. I don't even remember reading exactly what it was, but they did like seem to like throw in like the Asian guy, the older Asian guy that was one of them that has the most lines. He was definitely featured alongside like some of that story. And
Well,
so I think that's probably what you're thinking of.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
there's no information out there about what this series is about. So anything that you find right now is pure speculation.
I'd watch Gina Carano as the Marshall.
I'm gonna go on a
thing.
I'm
She's
gonna
been
go on
surprising,
a
surprisingly good. Like,
I'm gonna guess that she's not gonna be in season 3
Well, just because of her Twitter account.
because of her Twitter account and because
I must have missed this. What went down?
oh she said some pretty shitty things about trans rights. And she's very she's very into the QAnon shit. Her and Pedro Pascal got into it on Twitter a while back. They were talking
in the nicest possible way.
Yeah, but they still got because he seems like a great dude, honestly. And he was being very cordial. But it was
saying, like, this is why
an
these
argument
people do
about
Yeah.
the proper use of a trans person's pronouns, which Gina Carano said some sort of shitty things about. And I don't see Disney putting up with that just for sheer whether it's based on morals or based on visibility. I don't see them doing that. And I don't see, I don't know how much pull Pedro Pascal has, but maybe he doesn't want to work with her anymore. I don't know, so, and she's gotten better as an actress, way better than she was in the season 1 episode that she appeared in. But I still don't think she's very good. I think she's physically imposing and she looks good in a fight, but I still don't, I think her line delivery is still pretty flat.
We're going to have to see, because I halfway expected that Rangers in the New Republic to be surrounding something she was doing, or at least her character is doing, now that she's rejoined or she joined the New Republic, recently
what's her character's name again?
Marshall something.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe she just gets a stern talking to.
Maybe she does.
Maybe.
Maybe she, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, it reminds me of like the issue they had with James Gunn and his Twitter. So
that's a little different because James Gunn's was him being an edgelord 15 years ago. This is someone right now who is actively and unapologetically saying things and hasn't backtracked on them at all. Because that's how, and she continues to tweet out like QAnon conspiracy theory bullshit and all that anyway. So.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, but what it is, what it is, whatever. So another series that we already knew about, but we got a fun little sizzle reel like EPK video of was Andor, starring Diego Luna, about casting Andor, which is the character that he played in Rogue One, which is a weird character to give its own series, but I kind of trust that they know where they're going with it. And it's coming in 2022.
Character for that show, or for that movie. I mean,
what's that?
I said he was one of the most intriguing characters of that.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely has potential to have some good stories. So
I feel what is weird about that, though, just not to step on you there, but I think that you already know the outcome of that character and that sort of thing. So it is kind of weird that they go back to that. But go ahead with what you were saying. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean that you're very correct there, but at this point, like with Filoni and Favreau kind of shepherding all of these series, it seems I've gotten to the point where I just kind of trust them that whatever they're doing, they have their reasons for choosing that character,
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the big announcements was we already knew an Obi-Wan Kenobi series was coming with Ewan McGregor returning. And the big announcement at this event, though, was that Hayden Christensen was also returning as Darth Vader for the Obi-Wan series. The Obi-Wan series is going to be set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, so he's well into his Darth Vader phase. So I'm curious how they're going to do that. Is he going to be heavily made up like you see him when you take the mask off, or is it going to be not a Force ghost, but like the thing that Rey and Ben did in the last couple of Star Wars movies where they talk over like through the Force to each other over distances?
I didn't even think about that, but my prediction was flashbacks, like that. A lot of the story would be Obi-Wan thinking back to working with Anakin,
because he's in his exile at this point, right?
Right. So maybe it would be a lot of like reminiscing on hanging with Anakin
Yeah,
basically.
that could happen. But didn't we already get a lot of that with the Clone Wars TV series?
Yeah, I mean that's the part is like what section of this would that be? Because you get a lot of their story in the Clone Wars stuff. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean maybe, but it just seems weird. Like why Hayden Christensen if all you're going to do is make him up and put him in the Darth Vader uniform,
right?
So,
well, I saw an interview with Ewan McGregor on Kimmel, where he said that Ewan McGregor's age is kind of right, just shy of where Alec Guinness was when he did Star Wars.
Well,
So,
I will say that
I don't know
Ewan
that
has
I don't know
aged
that they'll
better
make
than
him
Alec
up
Guinness.
I was about to say if they're the same age.
Are they? Well, I mean,
Alec Guinness looked like he was like just shy of like 85 when he did Star Wars. So.
And Ewan McGregor looks younger than me. He's got a good 15, 20 years on me. So
it's because of all that motorcycle riding he's doing. Just
that's probably it's like a natural facelift.
What I'm wondering if we're eventually going to see just to throw it out there, just in the Mandalorian or elsewhere, it feels like they dance all around throwing us a main storyline character, like a Luke Skywalker or something like that.
I honestly don't want them to.
I know it just feels like they keep
tired.
like.
I mean, they gave us Boba. They're. I think we'll get other characters.
Yeah.
So badass.
Oh, he's awesome. He's great. But yeah, I don't want a Skywalker or somebody. But
you know, they're cast like Sebastian Stan as Luke and have him come in.
Yeah, no, I've seen those videos too. I watched the same YouTube videos as you, Gary. So they also announced, and I think this was already announced, but they showed a sizzle reel for a new animated series called The Bad Batch, which is about a group of dudes from the Clone Wars TV series, which I haven't watched. So, so I don't know. I don't have much more to say about it.
Well, they're making you like feel as though you need to check out all of those spin-off cartoons.
And I am. I'm watching the Clone Wars right now. I started season 2 today. So I'm moving forward.
I'm so married to the Gendy Tartakovsky Clone Wars.
I love that too, but I don't think that's considered canon anymore.
My heart.
I don't think that's canon anymore.
Ian Schultz, welcome, Ian. Thanks for hanging out with us. He says, I think Ewan is about 10 years younger, so maybe that's accurate.
Well, that sets him up for, if the series takes place 10 years before the first Star Wars.
And Wyatt pointing out that Ralph Macchio is older in Cobra Kai than Pat Morita was in Karate Kid. So how's that for weird?
That makes me feel old.
Yeah.
They also, speaking of animated Star Wars series, one that I think sounds really cool is one called Star Wars Visions, which is a series of animated shorts from the world's best Japanese animators, is what they said. So like an Animatrix, but in Star Wars.
Nice.
That's what it sounds like, or Gotham Knights, or what was that called? Gotham Knights.
Yeah, you were right. Gotham Knights.
What are you doing, Gary? Why are you doing that to our screen?
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear me right now talking?
Can you
I
hear
guess
me?
that's a no.
Can you hear me?
Nope, he's gone. You just want to keep talking without Gary?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
Do you have the view to let him back in if he comes into the backstage?
Yeah, I can. Yep, I can do that.
Okay, cool. I don't.
Welcome back, Gary. Nope. Is he frozen? Nope. This is great. This is a great first live stream. It's going really well.
What happened there? It somehow my computer switched over to my Bluetooth headphones. And
all right.
Well, you're back now.
Hey, we're doing great. We're doing great. We're learning. We're growing.
Hey, man, it's a small audience tonight. People will catch on. We're growing this thing, and part of growing is being authentic.
It's an intimate group.
And making mistakes. Ian Schultz with, do you guys think Baby Yoda will die and its blood will be what brings Snoke alive?
No, I don't. And also, his name is Grogu. Let's not disrespect him.
That's not true. So my wife was watching that. And she was like,
at this point, we've all been calling him Baby Yoda.
That is his name. It's Baby Yoda.
It's now Grogu.
The Star Wars universe will not stand for this. This is the greatest controversy since Kelly and Fran or whatever.
Since Han shot first.
There you go.
So another series that they're describing as an event series, which makes me think that it's not going to be like ongoing, but it'll be like a single season, like long miniseries, essentially, called Lando. They didn't say like when it's set. Like, is this young Lando? Is this Donald Glover Lando? Or is this later on Lando and Billy D. Williams? I don't know. They don't say. We don't know. We don't know anything. We don't know when it's coming. We just know that they're working on a Lando series. That we do know that Justin Simeon is developing it. Justin Simeon is the writer-director of Dear White People and the recent Hulu horror movie Bad Hair, which I think Gary saw and enjoyed, if I remember correctly. I
did. I did not like the ending, but it was just because it was kind of, I don't know. Horror movies be doing that sometimes.
They do.
Ian Schultz, tell us.
Oh yeah, he says he does
Enlighten
know.
us.
He does know about Lando.
He does?
How do you?
I don't know. I assume that's what he's talking about.
No, he's talking about Baby Yoda's name being Grogu still.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah.
So that's all we know about Lando. We know Justin Simeon's involved. That's the thing. Like, Star Wars is getting some really cool creators involved in these series, like really cool up and coming and a very diverse group of creators, which I think is really great too. For instance, another one they're doing is called The Acolyte, which they described on their Twitter as a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. And that sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with the Star Wars universe, it's the same really with the Marvel universe. I mean, one of the cool things about this is if you expand out and you have a place like Disney Plus that's willing to invest in it, then, I mean, the stories can be any kind of story you want it to be.
I think you've got even more wiggle room with Star Wars because you literally have just an entire universe, whereas in Marvel, you're at least somewhat beholden to the characters that were created in the comic books, whereas in Star Wars you can just create a whole new people that just exist within this universe, which is really cool.
That's true. You could open it up. I guess I was just thinking of it as, hey, in one place they have flying spaceships that go around and stuff like that, Darth Vader, and then in the other it's like the Hulk could be bouncing by in the background, but it's just but you're right. Yeah, I mean, you could just make up people. But, I mean, they kind of did that in MCU a little bit. I mean, if you count, like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. But
made up some new
Star
folks.
Wars lends itself to that even more, I think. But that Acolyte series is coming from Leslie Headland, who's the co-creator of Russian Doll, which is a great series if you haven't seen it on Netflix.
I haven't. I want to jump into that. That's with Leon? Natasha Leon?
Yeah, Natasha Leon. Yep, correct.
Yeah,
it is excellent. I would highly recommend it.
Can Ryan Johnson get a TV show just to piss off loads of people? I hope so.
Well, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought up that was Ian Schultz again. I'm glad you brought that up, Ian, because one of the things with all of these Star Wars announcements that they made, there were a couple of projects that they have previously announced that were completely absent from this, and one of those is his
trilogy. That's right,
the trilogy that Ryan Johnson was supposed to be working on. Yeah, he was supposed to be working on a Star Wars trilogy, and I wonder if he dropped out or if they just went with in a different direction, or maybe he decided he's tired of all the fanboy bullshit, people being assholes to him, and he'd rather make another Knives Out movie, which I would be totally fine with, which I think he is doing, actually. I think he's doing another Benoit Blanc adventure, if I remember correctly.
I say you fight through it, and eventually they're just going to fall off. Or they're not. They're just going to talk a lot of shit, and then they'll still watch anyway.
Yeah, but getting death threats over Twitter sucks. So, over a movie about guys fighting with laser swords.
I wouldn't know. Everybody likes me. So.
But and also another, of course, I think Kevin Feige had one that they had announced a while back that he was developing something, and that was absent from this announcement as well.
Just Wyatt with lightsabers out. See, so that's
laser swords.
Yeah. One job that I think would be the coolest job in the world, and also the biggest pain in the ass job, would be whoever those folks are that keep up with the lore in the Star Wars universe. That is a pain.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I want to see the room, like the office.
Because it's not just the movies and TV shows.
Because it's also like that Charlie meme where he's got like the lines and everything.
Because it's also the comic books.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because there was such an expansive expanded universe. I wonder because it seems like a lot of folks take cues from that, but don't necessarily, since a lot of that kind of got
pretty much all of it.
Yeah, pretty much all of it got retconned. But I wonder if they take a lot of cues from that, or
sure. I mean, the character
play to that crowd, because there was some hardcore fans of the expanded universe.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're taking elements of those, and I was never really into the EU of Star Wars back in the day, so I can't say, but I know from people like our buddy Miles, who was on here last week, people like that who are more into that have said that they do definitely are taking elements of those.
Yeah,
stories.
I've heard of like characters being similar or named like was it Thrawn, like one of those characters?
I believe
like,
so, yeah. And then he showed up in the comics, the current comics, which are canon.
Yeah,
and of course now
wasn't Ben Solo actually in the EU?
No, I think he was a different name, wasn't he, or something?
Ben
maybe
and
that's
Leia,
right.
or Han and Leia had twins, but I do not remember their names.
Yeah, I got you.
Ray and
more incest in the Star Wars world.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. I mean, I always think of like, there were clearly like they clearly focus on some fan service. I mean, Boba Fett's hanging out in The Mandalorian right now, and that's a thing people have wanted for forever. And that was always one of those EU things you always heard was like, what's cool about the EU? Like Boba Fett lived, Boba Fett got out of the Starlight Pit and all that stuff.
Boba Fett wasn't a little bitch like he was in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
It's
Very true.
they immediately in one episode turned that around. So,
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Boba Fett's always been one of those characters where I'm like, man, he looks cool and he is potentially cool, but he was made to sell toys. Literally, he was made to sell toys.
Yeah.
I need them to, what they need to do is they need to do a retcon of sorts. Have Boba Fett flash back, like telling Mando a story about how he didn't realize, but there was somebody who sabotaged his freaking helmet or something that day out at Jabba's place, and they, he just couldn't see, and that's why like Luke like knocked.
It wasn't just like he was a buffoon, which is how he seems.
He was like, I can't see anything, and at the same time, like Luke like bops him into the pits. Like he's just like, I don't even know where I'm at.
Oh man! So Lucasfilm Animation also announced that they're doing something called a droid story, which Disney says will introduce a new hero guided by R2-D2 and C-3PO. So I don't know what that means. I guess it's a new animated series, but it's produced by Lucasfilm Animation and with ILM. So I'm very curious about what that means.
Ian Schultz, I know exactly the short you're talking about, and it's so cool. In the Star Wars Tales, they actually crossed over.
He says, I want the Indiana Jones Wookiee/Bigfoot story as a short or Disney Plus movie.
Did either of you guys read that? Did you?
No.
It's a short, because they did a series called Star Wars Tales from Dark Horse, I believe. And each issue was like 3 short stories set within the Star Wars universe, but they did one where it was basically, long story short, Chewie and Han are crash land somewhere. They're being chased by TIE fighters, and then they go to hyperspace without plotting a course, and then they crash land and die. Crash land and Han dies, and then they flash forward in the distant future, and they find this temple. Indiana Jones and Short Round find this temple, and it's the Millennium Falcon. And they find a dead body, and they find Han's skeleton, and then you see like Chewie in the trees and stuff like that. It's cool.
Oh, that's kind of
pretty fun.
interesting.
Yeah, it was really.
That would be good if they did like a
this-
what if series, like Marvel's going to.
That would be perfect for What If.
Yeah, that would be fun. I just got to point out here as we move along that Todd, I appreciate you sticking to this through line bit that we've got going on right now with you being topless. This is fantastic.
That's how you get views. That's how you get those hits. You got to show some skin.
Listen, sex sells, guys.
So they also announced something that we already knew, which was that Taika Waititi had a Star Wars film in development. They didn't say anything else about it. They didn't say a title or anything. They just said, hey, there's a new Star Wars film coming from Taika Waititi. And we're like, yeah, we already knew that. Everyone already knew that. You announced that months ago. But hey, I'm still excited about it because that guy rules. But it'll be a while before he does it, which is probably why they didn't have any more information, because he's still got to do Thor: Love and Thunder, which we'll talk about more in a few minutes. They did announce so all of this that we've talked about so far. I mean, the Taika Waititi one is a movie, but again, we don't know any information. Everything else is TV series coming to Disney Plus. This is all series, and so Disney's going to have like 2 Star Wars series a year for the next few years, starting in 2022. But they did announce.
Do you guys worry about oversaturation?
I mean, I remember a few months ago after, well, I mean, I guess it was a year or so ago, after, like when Solo didn't do that well, and then I think Rise of Skywalker wasn't as received as well as they wanted it to be, that Bob Iger said something about, we're going to take a step back. We're going to I think we put out too much too soon, which they had put out 5 movies within 4 years.
Right.
But they seem to be focusing pretty heavily on Disney Plus because it's been a success so far. And yeah, it could be oversaturation at some point. But as of right now, I'm very excited about pretty much all of these because I love this universe. And I think having Filoni and Favreau taking the helm on kind of executive producing this stuff, I'm excited to see where they go with all of it. So We'll see. We'll see if I change my tune in a year or two when I'm sick of Star Wars. But I haven't gotten sick of Star Wars yet. So I've had it with me my entire life.
Yeah, I think the Solo thing just ended up being like backlash for all of the other
the Solo thing was a lot. There was a lot of online backlash that was really about The Last Jedi and people being mad at Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars in general, and which was all stupid because The Last Jedi is still amazing. And I don't care what anyone else says. That movie is incredible. So there is another specific Star Wars movie that they announced via a video with director Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84, which is coming out on HBO Max in just a couple of weeks now, 11 days from right now when we're recording this. And she is directing a Rogue Squadron a Rogue Squadron feature film.
Nice.
And that is exciting because it is basically, that just makes me think it's going to be a bunch of, I mean, the original Star Wars, a lot of the X-Wing stuff was very much like inspired by World War II dogfights, like in movies that George Lucas loved watching when he was a kid. And I feel like doing a Rogue Squadron movie, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be like a World War II type jet fighter movie, but with like X-Wings and shit.
Nice. Yeah.
Chris Pine's going to be in it.
Really?
One can hope. One
Yeah.
can dream that Chris
I just
Pine,
feel like that should be a thing that happens. So
Yeah.
I'm speaking it into existence.
one can dream.
You
that
can't
Chris
have
Pine-
Captain Kirk piloting an X-Wing. Sorry.
Yeah, sure you can.
You certainly can. In fact, you know what? Make the whole cast the Star Trek crew.
Yeah. I mean, we've already got Kirk's.
The nerds
We've already
wouldn't
got
know
Kirk's
who to
dad.
fight first.
We've already got Kirk's dad in the MCU.
That's true.
There can be some holdover. So a couple of other Lucasfilm tidbits. The Willow series is coming, which we already knew about, but they did give it because we already know that Warwick Davis is going to be in it. John M. Chu is doing the pilot episode. John M. Chu is directing everything these days.
I didn't know this. This is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like Willow, so I don't really care, but I know that people
It's
like
gonna
that
be
movie.
fun. Yeah.
But they're doing a Willow series. I think it's a follow-up series. I mean, it would have to be because Warwick Davis is like 30 years older, 40 years older than he was in that movie.
Yeah.
But it's coming in 2022, so we've got a release date on that, or at least a release year. They also announced that this is something that none of this information was known, that they are doing, we knew that it was eventually going to happen, a 5th Indiana Jones movie, but they're officially in pre-production, and it's not being directed by Steven Spielberg. It's being directed by James Mangold, who James Mangold's a good director, and I'm sure that there's a reason that they picked him. James Mangold most recently did Ford versus Ferrari. It's a good director. But it's just weird that there's an Indiana Jones movie coming out that doesn't have Spielberg at the helm because he's done all 4 of them so far.
It just feels dirty.
I mean, I imagine it's because Spielberg has enough on his plate and he's probably got other things that he'd rather do than revisit a franchise that he's already been at 4 times. But it's just odd. It's just really weird. to not have
Yeah.
Spielberg at the helm of an Indiana Jones movie.
Do you think this is possibly an attempt to slowly work out, just like you're talking about with the Star Wars universe, like just get these properties in the hands of other creators?
Well, maybe, because if they continue to do Indiana Jones movies or movies set within that universe, they can't do many more with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford, who they did announce is going to be in this one, they've said that this movie is releasing in July of 2022. July of 2022 is when Harrison Ford celebrates his 80th birthday. He can't keep playing Indiana Jones forever.
Yeah.
He's old as shit.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. I mean, with his high income level and today's modern technology, I mean, he's got at least till like 550 or something like that. So he could maintain. No, just get Shia back in there, I guess.
I don't know about that. But,
Yeah.
well,
what about River Phoenix?
he's
young Indiana
dead.
Jones.
Dead, Gary.
Todd's like, I got some bad news for
I don't
you.
know how to break this to you, Gary. Something terrible happened to River Phoenix.
What a bummer.
So the last thing that we're going to mention from Lucasfilm is that they are developing a movie called Children of Blood and Bone, which is based on a novel by Tommy Adeyemi. That was originally in development by Fox, so I guess this is just something that, as Fox got merged with Disney took it on and turned it into a Lucasfilm, specifically a Lucasfilm development. I don't know much about it. I remember reading about the book when it first came out, but I will say that it is being directed by Rick Famuyiwa. Rick Famuyiwa he did Dope is a movie he did most recently. He did The Wood back in the 99, which is a really good movie. But he's most recently done several episodes of The Mandalorian, including the one that aired this past Friday, which is the next to last episode of season 2, which is a great episode. He's a great director, if the stuff that I've seen him do is any indication. So I'm excited to see what he does with this. I don't know much about it, but it's something to look forward to in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm on board. They've done such a great job. They've done such a great job with The Mandalorian that any of those directors, I'm going to be paying attention to for, especially if they're attached to a Star Wars project.
So most of the other like Disney stuff we're going to skip probably because I just am not that interested in a lot of it. They're doing a Turner and Hooch TV series, which is weird. They're doing a 3 Men and a Baby reboot starring Zac Efron, so I'll watch it.
A Turner and Hooch sounds dope.
Turner and Hooch stars one of the kids from Josh and Drake. I think Josh. I can't remember. I did not write it down because I don't really care.
Okay.
But
okay.
But there were a couple of interesting notes that I thought were kind of cool or weird in the case of this first one, because the first one they're doing a live action Lion King prequel, so a prequel to the Jon Favreau live action movie. They're doing a prequel, but it's in development from Barry Jenkins, the director of Moonlight, the Oscar-winning, Best Picture-winning Moonlight. He is doing a live action Lion King prequel, and for some reason that feels like it's like he could be spending his time doing something different. Like he should be spending his time on something better. I mean, I'm sure money talks. So money talks. So
yeah,
they did say that Pharrell Williams and Hans Zimmer are developing the music, which is an interesting duo. Okay. So I have no idea what to expect from it. I never saw the other one. I never saw the Lion King live action because I love the Lion King cartoon, and I don't need another version of that story. The other Disney one that I did think was really great is that Akiva Schaffer, 1/3 of The Lonely Island, is directing an animated live action hybrid of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which is great on its own.
Yeah.
But the best part of this news is that Chip
John Mulaney
and Dale are being voiced by John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. And I am just over the moon about that news.
It actually
that
just feels like
amazing.
perfect Perfect casting.
And what great chemistry between them two. Like they're perfect for those roles because Dale, Andy Samberg, is kind of a doofus.
Yeah. And John Mulaney will be like the straight man.
Right. It's going to be awesome. I mean, that just sounds great. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. No, I'm on board. The Lonely Island guys, stop drilling at Lonely Island. I'm on board. Those guys have directed so many amazing things outside of Lonely Island, like a bunch of Parks and Rec stuff and numerous other projects. And, you know, if you're not on board with those guys, music aside, if you're not on board with those guys in terms of their creative vision,
watch Hot Rod and you'll change your mind.
Exactly.
I think the real news is going to come when we find out who's cast as Gadget, because she was fine.
Everyone had a crush on Gadget back in the day. It's weird. That's where furries come from. Honestly, furries are all kids that had a crush on Gadget when they were kids.
Nobody. I'm just happy to hear everybody admit to it here. You know, people like to deny they wanted to screw a cartoon rat, but you did.
Danger Mouse, the Scottish tech mouse.
I remember Danger Mouse.
Yeah, the Scottish tech female mouse. I did not feel anything.
I did not feel anything. So let's move on to Marvel. This is what everyone's here for: Star Wars and Marvel. Are you guys familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is this something you've dived into?
I saw the second Thor movie, and I saw it. That's all.
That's the worst of all of them.
No, well versed. Seen them all.
Yeah, you've seen them all many, many times.
Right.
That is actually the worst of all of them, though. So, I mean, I think personally, I do. So anyway,
I'm going to keep my mouth shut so we don't get into a fight.
What's your least favorite? What do you think is the worst?
Oh, you don't want to go down this road, Joe.
Tell me now. Now I gotta know.
Guess.
If you say Iron Man 3, I'm going to punch you through the screen.
So what's coming new from the MCU, Justin?
Todd, Gary, help me out here.
I'm just like, you know, he's free to love what he loves.
You're free. Yeah, you're free to love or not love what you love. But I'm curious now. I mean, here's the thing. When I say the worst, like I like all of them to an extent. But I still think that Thor: The Dark World is the worst.
I was about to say, I think it's like factual that Thor: The Dark World is the worst Marvel movie.
Yeah, I mean, it just is. Completely waste Christopher Eccleston as the villain. Anybody could have been that villain. Yeah, it's just a garbage movie. It's not a garbage movie, but compared to the heights of some of the other MCU
there's still
movies,
entertainment to be found in it.
Sure, I'm never bored with it.
It's the worst of them.
Yeah.
People hate on Iron Man 2, and I don't hate Iron Man 2. I think it's fine.
I would put Iron Man 2 at second to last for me.
Age of Ultron, Ian Schultz.
Oh man, hey, he's not alone in that.
Before.
People don't
like Age of Ultron.
Vader's voice alone.
Yeah, I mean, James Vader is
badass voice or something. I seriously think that is the reason. I don't know. Maybe Ian can shed some light on that, but it just I liked Age of Ultron. I had no problem with it. But
Todd, we're skirting around this question.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know what your least favorite Marvel movie is.
Oh, tell us what's new in the MCU, Justin.
You're not getting any of this news until you tell us.
I want to know. Yeah, this needs to happen.
You can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat.
All right, you got me with the Pink Floyd reference. It is Iron Man 3.
You're wrong.
Fair enough. And I just don't.
As we're in the middle of a series on Shane Black, you're gonna just drag the man's name through the mud.
This matches up though because the next episode that comes out is Long Kiss Goodnight, and Todd didn't show up for it.
It's true, yeah.
It's just
clearly he doesn't give a shit about
it.
I've only missed one, guys. But yeah, to me, it's just I really dug the tone Jon Favreau set, and I wanted to see that finished off. That's all.
Ian Schultz says you are wrong, so fucking wrong.
And listen, he doesn't like Age of Ultron, so I'm all right. I'm
Ian
okay.
Schultz,
not in my corner. No, I'm kidding.
We're
kidding.
with you, Ian. We're with you.
It was the tone.
If we ever fire Todd from this show, Ian's going to come on.
I feel like people hated what they did with the Mandarin, but the same thought that I think a lot of us had.
I think it's great.
Was exactly the thought that
I think that
Shane Black had. I was, during the research, I remember seeing some interviews with him talking about that, and he was just like, one of the hard parts was like they were trying to find the villain. And I think it was at a Comic-Con, he sat down and just did like an interview, like a panel got canceled, and he came in and spoke. So I found like the video of that. But anyway, it's funny because he says like one of the things we're trying to work out is what villain. He had just been announced as, that's what it was, the director of Iron Man 3. And he was like, we're just trying to figure out what villain. And somebody was like, Mandarin. And he's like, I've seen Mandarin, read a lot about it, but not sure I want to tackle a racist stereotype of a character. So we're going to, that would take some work. I think, but it sounded like he took that and he was like, all right, well, the work is what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think they did such a good job. The facade of Mandarin was so well sold to us, the viewing audience, that I was like, oh, I totally bought in. Cause you hear his voice, in the trailers, and I was just like, it gave me chills. I was like, this is, and again, they had done such a good job with presenting these characters, these fantastic characters, in a realistic light, just like Chris Nolan did in the Dark Knight trilogy, which we discussed on Cinema Shock. That I guess I shouldn't have been surprised when they made the turn, but I don't know. I guess I just wanted to see that come to fruition.
I was 100% surprised. I did not expect that when I was in the theater and saw
which
it.
I guess was the point.
I thought it was one of those twists, like in Deep Blue Sea. I remember seeing that movie in a crowded theater, and I was the only person who literally stood up and cheered when Samuel L. Jackson got eaten by the shark halfway through the movie. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, Sam Jackson's like the guy in this movie that people know, and he's dead. And I did that for Steven Seagal, an executive decision, by the way, but mostly just.
You think Iron Man 3 over Civil War, really?
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt there. I think that I disagree with that, but it has been a little bit since I ranked them.
Based on what?
Well, only one of them works as a standalone movie.
I was going to say, because you could probably argue that Iron Man 3 works better as a standalone movie. Like, no Marvel movie is better than, I still think probably Winter Soldier is my favorite.
Yeah.
But
really good.
I go between Black Panther, Winter Soldier, and honestly, probably Ragnarok.
Hey, listen, I like Black Panther as much as, well, most of the next guys. The ending of Black Panther, not the very ending of it, not the finale. Like, everybody in that movie is so fantastic; it's hard to hate on. But the CG in that movie, in the final fight, is just I just hate. It took me out of it.
I don't feel like it's any worse than any other Marvel movie.
I don't know. For some reason, it bothered me in that movie.
Well, let's get on to this.
Movie.
Let's get on to this.
No, let's just talk about the old Marvel movies and not care about anything.
I mean, we can do that on another live stream. We got some more shit. People are here for the news.
All right.
And so we got a couple of trailers for series that we knew were already coming. One of those was WandaVision. And we got a new trailer. Sorry, Todd, you're not on the screen anymore. We got WandaVision. And it looks great.
It looks like a full on naked Todd is peeking around this thing.
So WandaVision looks outstanding. I think it looks super weird. And they have already said that it is going to somehow tie into the next Doctor Strange movie, the Multiverse of Madness.
Very cool.
So what we're seeing, I'm wondering if what we're seeing with like all the different TV show like type scenes we're seeing in that has something to do with that. I don't know, but it's going to fit in somehow. We also got a trailer for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, I saw this,
which looks fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it looks really good.
I'm on board.
I'm not as excited about it as WandaVision personally, just because WandaVision just seems stylistically so unique to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm excited about the Falcon and Winter Soldier mostly because I love those characters in the comics, especially. So
I feel like that one at least. I mean, I feel like those are two different tones as well.
oh
Like,
yeah, sure,
I mean, it's the buddy cop movie we've been waiting for.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's interesting that Falcon. It's weird they're still calling him Falcon, because now he's Captain America technically.
Yeah, which I'm sure that will probably be a topic of the show because they even say I think he says it, like there's a lot of baggage with that shield.
Well, I was going to say this is going to turn into who will wield the shield.
Could be cool. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. So those are both coming next year, very soon. Actually, WandaVision comes in. What does it say? What day does that say?
January 15th.
And then that one's coming
Like
in
a
March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very soon. So they're both coming very soon. And then we got a new trailer for Loki, the Loki series, which looks like a lot of fun. He's going all through history and stuff. I mean, it's a blast. It's coming in. That one's coming in May. I'm very excited about that because, like most people, Loki is one of my favorite characters in the MCU.
Yeah, I was wondering how they were going to play that with everything that went down.
We also got a trailer for What If, which is an animated series coming in the summer of 2021. They didn't say an exact date, but summer 2021, and it looks super fun. I mean, I love those What If series anyway.
Oh, I collected so many of those.
But
things.
there's they're showing like a clip of. I think there's one where T'Challa gets adopted by what's his fucking name? Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy. So he becomes like Star-Lord and stuff like that. Yeah, just really fun stuff. It's yeah, there's some really fun stuff involved.
Very cool.
And the animation like style looks really cool and really unique to me as well. So I think it's going to be
leaning more anime.
A little more anime, not quite, but it's a little more anime. It feels like a little bit anime and a little bit rotoscopy, like Waking Life type. Not quite exactly rotoscopy, but it kind of leans in that direction to me.
Cool.
They also announced the full cast of Shang-Chi. So that's I'm actually gonna just go ahead.
I got because they recently relaunched the Shang-Chi book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Shang-Chi's a cool character,
yet, but I've got it here at the house.
So there's your cast of Shang-Chi.
Cool.
There.
How did I know Aquafina was going to be in there?
She's in everything, man. She was also there's another. I'm gonna lean over so you can see my face. There's another Disney. I think The Little Mermaid. They announced the cast of as well, which I didn't go over, but we already knew a couple of them, like Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, David Diggs as like Sebastian, but. I mean, this is a pretty good cast.
Yeah,
solid. For the people that I know. But I am most excited about Tony Leung because he's a legend. Dude's a legend. And I don't know who Wenwu is. I don't know many of these characters. I'm not very well versed in the Shang-Chi comics. I've read a few of them. But as you can see, that's coming out in July 9th of this coming year. That's in 7 months. That's coming out in 7 months.
Nice.
That's wild. Anyway,
that is crazy. I also love that it's in the Legend of the Ten Rings. So going back to the Mandarin story, you could still get something out of that. I feel like there's that 10 Rings gang. I think they showed up first back in Iron Man.
The first Iron Man, yep.
Yeah, but they implied in some of those short films that maybe there was an actual
10 Rings, yeah,
an actual Mandarin, that was not the guy.
From the short at the end of
Iron Man 3.
Was it Iron Man 3?
Well,
the short was something later.
Yeah,
I think or Thor 2.
That may be right, but it was just the dude in prison telling the story. I believe Ian's most interested in WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2. Those have the potential to be the wildest, like the craziest stuff.
Doctor Strange 2, directed by Sam Raimi. I mean,
I didn't know that. Oh, that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, no, that was announced a while back that
Cool.
Scott Derrickson left and Sam Raimi replaced him. So Sam Raimi's doing Doctor Strange 2.
Maybe that's part of the
Doctor
reason we're gonna get
Strange
some
and the
Tobey
Multiverse
Maguire
of
back in.
Madness. So they're saying that Doctor Strange, it's called the Multiverse of Madness. So we know that they're going to get into some multiverse stuff, which was already hinted at in the last Spider-Man movie. I think it was the last Spider-Man movie. I know it was a scene involving Spider-Man where he's like, there's a multiverse, which kind of leads into all those rumors that we're hearing about the next Spider-Man movie about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. And we already know Jamie Foxx is coming. That's been made official.
And the other big rumor.
And I think Doc Ock, Alfred Molina. I don't remember if that was an official announcement or not. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like the rumored thing. I don't think it was an official casting, but
yeah,
they
so
should because he's one of the standout.
And you've got the Sam Raimi connection. Or now Sam Raimi is officially in the MCU, and so I'm very excited about the next Doctor Strange movie, and potentially, I mean, the next Spider-Man movie could be cool if it leans into that as well. So another one of the announcements was for a series that we knew was in the works because they announced it a while back, but we got a little sizzle reel for Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, who is one of my favorite Marvel characters of recent years. She is a great character, and I'm really excited that they're giving her a TV series. But they gave a little sizzle reel where they announced that this young girl, Iman Vellani, who is a newcomer, she has no credits to her name at this point. She has been cast as Kamala Khan, and I'm excited about it because I don't know anything about her, obviously, but I trust Marvel at this point because if there's one thing Marvel does right, they know how to cast a role.
Are her hands that big?
Well, only when she's using her powers, Gary.
All right,
her hands stretch. She has stretchy powers. Anyway, so have you guys read Ms. Marvel?
I honestly haven't. I've never read it.
No, I've read a bunch of Captain Marvel, but
I highly recommend reading Ms. Marvel. Read it from the beginning, from issue 1, which was probably about 4 years ago, I want to say.
Do you recall the creative team involved?
No, but you know what? I've got the internet right in front of me, so I'm going to tell you real quick.
Yes, please.
Who it is. Ms. Marvel was what was her name? The lady who created the comic. G. Willow Wilson. G. Willow Wilson is who I'm thinking of. She's the writer on it. She it's just a really good series, man. Like, it is a great character because she's a kid. She's 15 years old or so. She lives in Jersey City, so she's kind of not right in the shit of like where most of the Marvel is taking place in New York and stuff. Right. But she's close enough, and she idolizes Captain Marvel, which is why she takes on the Miss Marvel name, because she like Carol Danvers is her like hero, and then they get to meet and stuff. And so I think that's really cool. Which, speaking of which, she is also going to reprise her role in Captain Marvel 2, which officially got announced as well, coming November 11th, 2022, directed by Nia DaCosta, who did the Candyman movie that none of us have seen yet, but that looks great. But so I'm excited about that as well, because I know a lot of people didn't like Captain Marvel. I mean, it's mostly butthurt fanboys who didn't like Brie Larson because she didn't smile in interviews, which fuck you. But I liked Captain Marvel. I thought it was really fun. I don't think it's the best. I think it's mid-tier Marvel, but I think it's fun.
Yeah, it just didn't stand out to me. I mean, I thought it was good, like all Marvel movies.
There's a fight scene set to a No Doubt song, so I like that. Because of who I am as a person, I enjoy that. But I think Brie Larson is outstanding.
Todd's figuring out the way.
What's next?
Todd disagrees.
I'm a big fan of Kelly Sue DeConnick's writing, and I just don't feel the script captured the character. Brie Larson is fine. That's fine, but I don't know. It just tonally it didn't mesh with what had come before.
As someone who is who has not read those comics, so I'm not trying to compare it to the source material. I think it was fun.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where if you it's better if you haven't read the book, because I feel like the book just had more punch to it. I don't know. It's this is not I don't want to get into all the nitty gritty of it, but it just didn't stand up for me. So Brie Larson's fine, and it's a fun movie, but you know what? I'll go ahead and retract and say that's my least favorite, as opposed to Iron Man 3, because I do see the merits of Iron Man 3.
Captain Marvel's last, huh?
Wow. Yeah.
Wait a minute. I don't want to skip over Ian. I never thought of this before, but Kiernan Shipka as Gwen Stacy, that would be fantastic.
I absolutely agree. That would be a great casting.
I'm drawing a blank on who that is.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Also, she's in Mad Men. She's Don Draper's kid.
Oh, okay.
But so
got the look down, at least, if you want to stick to that strictly, which those things are changing too, because Mary Jane is not a redhead anymore.
Right.
So,
which, some purist thought was stupid, but
it just felt like
I think they're stupid.
Thing. Well, redheaded people, Justin, they're disgruntled bunch. I'm mildly red up here. So you get many icons as a ginger.
Some a shock.
So they also officially announced that Haley Steinfeld is playing Kate Bishop, which was something that we all knew, but it had not been officially put out there by Disney. She's playing Kate Bishop in Hawkeye, which is a TV series. Jeremy Renner's coming back, obviously. That's going to be a Disney Plus series. And since that announcement, there have been some set photos of her in costume, and she looks great. It's going to be, I think Haley Steinfeld is great. I think Kate Bishop is a great character, so I'm excited to see that come to the screen.
Yeah, I'm on board. Especially if this is going to be a Hawkeye, if Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye is post Endgame, where lost his family, got them back. I'm interested to see. I really feel like his character hasn't gotten the chance to really, for us to see all the, cracks in his psyche that have, everything leading up to his first appearance in Thor, and through the Avengers movies and all the way through Endgame, the loss that he suffered and him becoming Ronin. I just don't feel like they got to dive into that as deeply.
It's interesting, Todd, because this is that I was just literally thinking about this, that I like Kate Bishop too. I think that's a cool idea. They're bringing them all in, but it's interesting, as they push to get all of these characters in. And granted, one of the reasons is, and I don't mean this in a negative way, so nobody take it this way, but the more modern characters of the Marvel universe allow for more variety in the types of people. What's the word I'm looking for? I forgot.
Diversity.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
There's more diversity because of the new Marvel characters. So I totally get that part of it, that you want to get those in there, like a female Hawkeye or Miles Morales and Ms. Marvel and that sort of thing. The interesting part is though, as you bring in all the new people now, it's interesting, because I wonder, what are they going to get to the point where they start doing things that the comics didn't do, as far as character wise? I mean, I guess they've sort of toyed with it, but it's just interesting. And like you, I'm still with Hawkeye, with Renner's Hawkeye. I'm still kind of oh man, we never, hopefully they're not pushing him out, because there was more depth to that character you could explore that movies haven't done at all.
Right. And I think
they're giving him a whole series, so maybe that's what.
Well, yeah, and I think Kate Bishop in the comics is a little bit older than Steinfeld, so I wonder.
Steinfeld's probably in her early 20s.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if he's going to sort of play the Obi-Wan Kenobi character, if I can bring it back to Star Wars for a second, but if he's going to sort of play the mentor
to her Darth Vader.
well, to her Luke or Leia, or
She
however you
becomes
want.
like the ultimate leader of Hydra.
Right. But I mean, if he'll impart some of his thoughts and experiences and heartache to her through training or whatever it is, I'm down for it. But yeah, I don't want to see his character go away. But yeah, I hope they give him his due, because
eventually they're gonna have to kill some people off, so that does suck. But it's like
if nothing else,
They already have.
Yeah, if nothing else, the cast is getting real expensive.
And old.
Yeah,
I love that they did Into the Spider-Verse. Like that's one of my favorite Marvel movies by far.
Really
but
dope.
and I'm a Spider-Man diehard. Miles Morales, like he was never a problem for me. Like he caught on right away. Like I think Miles Morales is like one of the coolest characters, and it's cool to see people like him and perhaps Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, all of them become. It's neat to see like you were alive when they were created, because I could totally see them still being a part of the comics like 100 years from now, you know, after we're dead and gone. But it's like, I'd love to see a live action Miles Morales too. But I don't want that to be at the expense of Tom Holland, because I'm like, man, he's so good as Peter. And in the universe that Miles Morales appears in the comics, it like comes along with the death of Peter Parker. So it's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it also begs the question, the death of which Peter Parker?
Yeah, that's true too.
So there you go.
So it's interesting. Well, hell, you know, now that you say that, it makes me think like all these like multiverse things. I mean, you could easily get your Miles Morales out of that. So
come on, Spider-Ham.
Man, if they do a live action Spider-Ham
with John Mulaney,
I think they need to do it. I think they need to do it like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and just have that character exist in a live action world.
Marvel's steadily opening themselves to get weirder and weirder. So it sounds like this Doctor Strange 2 is going to
open some things up.
Yeah. Now, here's another question. You didn't bring this up, so I'm not 100% sure if you were going to, but the Blade series that got announced.
Well, I was going to bring that up. It's not a series though. It's a
Is it a film?
It's a film, I believe.
Oh, okay. I just probably forgot, but
starring Mahershala Ali,
who is
Blade.
Fantastic. Todd, why are you shirtless, by the way? Jennifer wants to know in the chat.
We don't know Jennifer.
Nobody knows. He just took his shirt off.
Only Todd knows.
So to get nerdy about that, I'm sorry if I'm just jumping into this part of the conversation, but what it makes me wonder is because Ali is being cast as Blade, which I think is phenomenal.
Yeah, great casting.
Because he's such an amazing actor. He's like one of my faves in anything. That guy's great. So perfect. Love it. Except also he was in the Luke Cage series, which I guess this officially seals the deal that that's all not going to matter. Although they're teasing, you keep seeing rumors of these Netflix series characters popping back up.
Yeah.
He was, what's his face? Viper. I forget.
Yeah.
In the Luke Cage series. And so I guess it doesn't matter, you know, like you can have him play two different.
I'm going to say the Marvel series are probably not going to mean a whole lot at all going forward,
which just sucks because
I'm very hit or miss on the Marvel series. I think I'll be honest, I'm mostly miss on the Netflix Marvel series. I think that every season is about 3 episodes too long. I think that Daredevil, like season 1 is really like, it really is slow. And Todd's leaving because I said that. And I think Iron Fist, start to finish, Iron Fist is garbage.
Yeah,
Iron Fist is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
The entire thing.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones season 1 is the best season of any of those shows. I say that about Daredevil. Like Daredevil has good stuff. I love Vincent D'Onofrio. I think Charlie Cox is really good. I just think the pacing is really off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying like you can say the
because
shows
it's
are
3
hit or
episodes
miss,
too long.
but it's like I don't know. Charlie Cox as Daredevil seemed like perfect casting.
He's
John
good.
Bernthal as the Punisher. Mike Coulter
Incredible.
as Luke Cage.
Yeah.
I loved all of those.
The casting is great with all of them except for Iron Fist.
Yeah,
Danny Rand sucks.
Well, the
He's
deal
terrible.
is that Iron Fist probably should have not been. Well, if he were still going to get a blonde white guy, maybe not that one.
Yeah, because he's really bad.
The introduction to his character just fell flat. I mean, the guy's not a bad actor, and I mean, it's not like they were making it on the cheap. So I think it comes down to
even the fights and stuff in Iron Fist. I feel like even the choreography is kind of bad in it. Like it's,
I'm getting some love here for the first season of Luke Cage. Jennifer Brandon over here.
I like
first
Luke
season
Cage.
of Luke's where it's at. Luke Cage had such an amazing feel, and the music,
I think that the best thing
and
about Luke Cage, the soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean the soundtrack was badass. Luke
Soundtrack
Cage
is
was
great.
good, dude. Mike Coulter needs. I think Charlie Cox still needs to be Daredevil, and Mike Coulter needs to come back as Luke Cage. Like it just, and obviously D'Onofrio,
Bernthal. Yeah.
And Bernthal as Punisher. I mean, nobody plays like. I mean, he was tortured, dude. That was good stuff. That casting was spot on.
Yeah.
And I think the dude who played Foggy in Daredevil was as annoying and made me hate him as much as I hate the regular Foggy. So
he is so irritating. It's that fucking guy from Idle Hands, right? It's that guy from Idle Hands. He was annoying in that too.
From the Mighty Ducks.
You ever look at a guy and you can just tell, like, oh, that guy's the annoying sidekick. Like, you know, like in like what did I watch recently? Halloween 2018. Halloween 2018. You've got the granddaughter and then her boyfriend and then the boyfriend's friend who is also kind of in love with her. You know, he's the Foggy Nelson of that series. You look at that guy's face and you're like, that's the guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna throw in Brandon Goodwin's point here.
What's up, Brandon?
Hey, thanks for joining us, Brandon. Seriously. And he said, I did enjoy how all of the Marvel shows dealt with real world personal issues. Each hero spoke to a different person. And I mean, that was it. It felt like, which I think Marvel's trying to do, obviously, right now with all these announcements. They're clearly trying to branch out and have like diverse visions on what's going on in the universe. But I mean, I definitely felt that way with like Luke Cage felt legit, like it felt real, and just the where he was at, the city he was in, you know, it just felt like each character had their own. Even like if you want to throw to Bernthal's Punisher, just the veteran mentality and the struggles that a veteran of the military would deal with, and those kind of things, that PTSD side of things, and that story. They, you know, I see your criticism, Justin, about them being a little too long, but I thought they were all
I think the casting overall is pretty good. I think there's some good stuff, but again, I just think that every season, with the exception, I think, of the first season of Jessica Jones, maybe every season's about 3 episodes too long, and almost every episode is about 10 minutes too long. That it's like they were trying to meet a quota of some sort. And but I do think most of the casting, again, with very much the exception of Danny Rand, I think the casting is very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think they would be doing the fans a huge service if they would just get those guys back in there.
Well, since we're talking about casting, let's move on with our Marvel announcements this week, which include a bit of casting here with Tatiana Maslany, which this has already been announced, but I guess Disney made the official announcement to their investors. She's been cast as She-Hulk for a Disney Plus series, which I think is great because I think she is incredible. I don't know if you guys have not seen, if you've not seen Orphan Black. It's a fun show. It's a really fun show, but she is incredible in it. She's so good. And I'm excited to see her as She-Hulk. She-Hulk is honestly, she's like low-key one of my favorite Marvel characters. I just think she's really fun. I've always liked that character. They did announce that Mark Ruffalo is going to be returning, which was not known, but sort of assumed. And then they announced also something that I didn't think would happen, but that Tim Roth would be returning as the Abomination for the She-Hulk series.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
They left that open back on I mean, in where was it? Like Civil War or
they mentioned him.
Civil War. Yeah, they mentioned Abomination. So it was like that Hulk film always felt like it was a little separated from everything else.
But this, now they're trying to tie it back in.
Yeah, and
but
so
I don't know. I'm excited about a She-Hulk series. I think that sounds really fun.
Well, I know I saw the interview, or I guess it was with James Grodin, where they were talking to Alison Brie about She-Hulk, and I was like, that'd be fun. But
yeah, but I don't know if you've not seen this is Tatiana Maslany. She is an incredible actress. Like, just literally. Go on Amazon Prime. All 5 seasons of Orphan Black are on there. She plays multiple characters on there, and the way that she can differentiate just with like her body language and her voice, like playing distinct different people, I think it is incredible casting.
Nice
for She-Hulk. I think she's going to be great. I think she's going to be awesome. They did also announce, I think, another series that's probably been rumored or discussed before, but they officially announced that Moon Knight was coming, which I think is really fun. No casting or creatives or anything announced. They didn't tell us that Keanu was playing Moon Knight, which is who we're all hoping for.
Nobody's hoping for Keanu.
Some of us are hoping that Keanu plays Moon Knight.
No, they're hoping for Oscar.
Really awesome.
Nope. I'm calling Keanu Reeves as Moon Knight.
Oscar Isaac needs to be Moon Knight. I'm with that.
Oscar's busy. He's got to make a Metal Gear Solid movie.
And I'm saying that just in support of our buddy Miles, who I think said that, and I argued with him in the Discord about it. But
I'm still pulling for Keanu as Moon Knight.
Wait, actually, I think he was all about Keanu, and I was and I was like, why Keanu? Like, the thing is, that was it, because I was like, the only time Keanu's shown that kind of range is in that Eli Roth movie where he acts like a lunatic.
About fucking free pizza.
Yeah. But otherwise, Moon Knight,
the best part of that movie.
Somebody who can be insane. Moon Knight is a damaged person.
Yeah. Did you guys read oh shit.
Well, I'm looking on Deadline reported at back at the end of October that this is where the Oscar Isaac thing came from, that they were in negotiations with Oscar Isaac to play Moon Knight. So that wasn't just right. Yeah, that wasn't just a rumor. And also Jeremy Slater is developing Moon Knight. Jeremy Slater most recently has done the Umbrella Academy, but he also, and I'm not reading this, so this is from memory, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe he also is behind the Exorcist TV series.
Oh, nice. I saw the first season of that. It's awesome. It's really great.
Exorcist show.
Yeah.
You guys read did you guys read Jeff Lemire's turn on Moon Knight?
Oh no! Oh wait, no, I did. Yes, it's very good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Actually, I think I did read that, and that was good.
Do you guys think Alpha Flight will ever happen as a film or TV show?
No, Ian. Nobody wants to see Canadians on TV. I think we've proven that.
Excuse me. Did we start this show talking about Schitt's Creek? Yeah, we want to see Canadians on TV. Alpha Flight can only happen if Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are involved.
I'll tell you what, if they are going to use Alpha Flight, if Alpha Flight's going to happen, Marvel has the ability, Disney has the ability to make this happen. Let's get that Wolverine storyline like spawning out from Alpha Flight. Let's give him
that would be cool. Yeah,
like his whole story.
Hugh Jackman versus Ruffalo as Hulk.
It's not Hugh Jackman. We can't have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
I was about to say,
yes, we can.
Nobody can't. No, like everybody's willing to recast everybody except Hugh Jackman.
Nobody's willing to recast Wolverine. Listen, if you bring the X-Men back and you bring Wolverine back, you cannot have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine because there's too much fucking baggage. There's too much baggage. There was a baggage of every other appearance of Wolverine, and 80% of which is garbage.
Yeah.
So
I say it's Tom Hardy. He's already like 5 feet tall.
He's Venom. You can't choose Tom Hardy. He's already in the Marvel universe.
Are they really going to keep that going?
Although I like
Yeah.
I like the movie. Okay,
I haven't seen it.
it
But I'm
was
just saying.
not great. It was just
It's not great. There
It
you
was
go.
There's plenty of short guys you can pick. Hugh Jackman's not even short. You don't have to be short to play Wolverine. Just like you don't have to be a redhead to play MJ.
Accurate, Wolverine is a short dude.
And if you're going to be comic accurate, then MJ is a redhead, and we've already discussed it. That doesn't matter.
Right. I don't know. Let's see. All right, fair enough.
Sam Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn are coming to Disney Plus in a Secret Invasion series, which is super fun. Ben Mendelsohn played Talos, the Skrull Talos, in Captain Marvel. They had that little bit at the end, I think, post credits, where they're going on a little adventure. So this is going to be the continuation of that story, I guess. Is Sam Jackson immortal? How old is Sam Jackson? Don't Google it. Guess. How old do you think Sam Jackson is?
I think Sam Jackson is 62.
What's your guess?
I'll say 68.
You say 68. Anybody in the comments want to guess? Anybody?
Everybody out there, you can guess on how old Samuel L. Jackson is, and we'll come back to it.
We'll come back to it after we discuss. What do you think about doing a Secret Invasion series, Todd? As the comic book guy, how do you feel about that?
I think that'll be fun. I think it'll be the fight movie. It'll be the fight movie we've all wanted to see, because you're going to see a bunch of Skrulls as characters we know and love, and they're just going to go at each other. This is going to be the Mortal Kombat of the MCU, but it's going to be good.
I mean, I like the idea that they're using the Skrulls this way, because so far they haven't really used the Skrulls in as extensively as the actual Marvel series.
And the fun part is, the weird part for me is going to be that, and Disney, here's the thing. Disney 100% has the ability to make this happen, but it feels like you can't do a Secret Invasion story without having those characters involved, like even the Avengers and that sort of thing. Like, it feels like that should be a part of it. And so all they're announcing Samuel Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn in this, which is cool, but it's like, is the Secret Invasion just supposed to be like government agencies, or is freaking whoever, I don't know, any of these characters going to come back? Any of the superheroes in the universe going to show up at some point?
Because I mean, Secret Invasion was a huge crossover series, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Brian Michael Bendis, right? Brian, that was your boy Bendis.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking of. It's like at some point Falcon's got to show up, or somebody like Hawkeye's got to be in there, or just all of this. I think I think during that is when Hawkeye was Ronin at some. I think all of that was going
which we've
on
already
around
seen in the MCU. So they have to move stuff around a little bit.
Yeah.
So Wyatt guessed correctly. He is 71 years old. Sam Jackson, 71. He'll be 72 in like a week. Actually,
I call BS. My granddad died at 75, and I've always remembered that because he was an old man. At least in my mind, I picture him as an old man, and it always felt like 75 was like peak. And then you look at guys like Samuel Jackson, and God, how old's Patrick Stewart? I don't know.
Patrick Stewart has looked old. Patrick Stewart's got this weird aging thing where he looked older than he was for years, and then he just stayed looking that age as he got older. Yeah. He went bald when he was like 19, and then just looked like an old man through his 20s and 30s and 40s, and then just stayed looking perpetually 50, even though he's like 80 years old now. Oh, Sam Jackson 71, almost 72 as next week, which means that by time Secret Invasion comes out, he's going to be like 73, 74 probably. Yeah. So
Patrick Stewart's 80. So
that
Patrick Stewart is 80.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
I really don't want to jinx this, but I really need him to just survive 2020. This has been a rough year.
Oh, he's got time. He'll get out. He'll get out.
He'll be all right.
I just
okay.
So another announcement that another casting announcement was a young actress named Dominique Thorne. She hasn't really done anything. Can
I just say real quick, just as a side? I'm so sorry.
If you want to interrupt me, Gary.
I do. because you never would have guessed it back in the day, but like based on what you're saying, just the aging thing. William Shatner is 89 years old. He'll be 90 in March. And that is insane to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
William Shatner is going to be 90 years old.
Yeah, he was making Star Trek was 50 years ago, Gary.
I'm just saying, one day he's going to die, and then y'all going to have to come see about me because
not going to be okay.
I'm not going to be okay when William Shatner eats it.
No. So he's 9 years older than Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, right? Which is weird because you would have always thought,
yeah,
Patrick Stewart seemed like the older captain, but
Nope.
Shatner's got a decade on him.
So Dominic Thorne was cast to play Riri Williams. Are you familiar with Riri Williams from the Marvel comics?
I sure am.
It's a great character. Ironheart. She's playing Ironheart. I think bringing in Ironheart as a character is a really great idea, especially without Tony Stark in the MCU anymore. I think that she's kind of taking up his mantle. If you're unfamiliar with Ironheart or Riri Williams, she was introduced probably like 3 or 4 years ago, pretty recently though, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fairly.
And she's like a kid genius. There's a lot of those in the Marvel world. A lot of young child geniuses. And she's one of them. She creates a suit that is like the most advanced suit since Tony Stark created one, basically. And she essentially takes up the mantle and becomes Ironheart, which is like her version of a superhero. And it's a fun series. It's a really fun comic, and I'm really excited that they're finally bringing this. And this is one that I've hoped for a while that they would bring, but I didn't think it would come this soon. Honestly, I thought it would come years and years down the line. But they're bringing it to Disney Plus.
I think
it's one of those things where like it's like I was talking about earlier. They're bringing in all the new characters that have recently popped up, here in the last decade or so. Yeah. But it's just interesting. They're throwing them all in there. So
yeah. I mean, I think it was smart to start with the classic characters to, get the existing fan base. But, Marvel over the last 10, 15 years has really expanded in terms of the diversity of the characters and newer versions of characters. And I think it's smart to, MCU has been running for over a decade. So let's go ahead and start bringing in those new folks. And it's a smart business move. I think they're going to get some really great stories out of these characters. And again, they're having to move some things around so everything's not book accurate. But I think because of that, that lends to the creation of some really fantastic stories, reminiscent of things that have come before. But I think we're staring down the barrel of some really fantastic stuff coming down the pike.
Yeah, I agree. And another one of the series, speaking kind of to what Todd's saying, another series that is in the works sees Don Cheadle returning as James Rhodes, as Rhodey, as AKA War Machine, in Armor Wars.
Ooh.
So they're doing an Armor Wars series. That's all we know about it. It's the plot of Armor Wars. It's based on, there are some comics. There's one of them. There are some comics out there for Armor Wars. But the plot as described by Disney was what happens when Tony Stark's tech falls into the wrong hands, which I think is the plot to every Iron Man movie.
Just about, yeah.
But that's the plot of this series as well. So, I love Don Cheadle as Rhodey. I think it's going to be fun. I don't know a lot. I haven't read the Armor Wars comic series. I know that there was originally a series back in the original Armor Wars was in like the late 80s. And then that comic, the one that I just showed you, this one right here, is from like 2015 or something. So it was a newer one. But the original Armor Wars happened quite a long time ago. So I don't know we don't know anything about this, what they're pulling from or anything like that. So
I'm sure they'll piece together stuff from the newer series and the original series and spin it with current state of the MCU to come up with something pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I just like that Don Cheadle's getting front and center finally, and he's earning that. And
he's always been he's been a highlight of the MCU. I think. I mean, I liked what's his face,
Terrence Howard
in the original, but I think that Don Cheadle just has. I don't know. There's something about Don Cheadle that just his chemistry with Downey, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Not that that's going to matter anymore, but
you know, I really liked Terrence Howard.
Oh yeah, he's good.
I really dug Terrence Howard, but you know, I believed Don Cheadle sitting in the courtroom at the beginning of Iron Man 2.
Right.
Like, yeah, he's got it.
So let's see what else. What else is there? What else has gone on in the MCU?
Kang.
Well, I'm getting there, Gary. Jesus.
You asked what else? I told you what else, you bastard.
All right, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this is kind of a big one though, so I was going to leave this towards the end, but we got another one we can end on. But yes, Peyton Reed is coming back to direct a third Ant-Man film called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is an outstanding title, honestly.
Yeah.
It is it's going to feature Catherine Newton, who is currently starring in Freaky. As Cassie Lang.
I gotta pee, so I'll be back.
What, are you just leaving, Gary? You're just gonna leave?
Leaving.
It's a live stream. You can't just leave a live stream.
Oh, that is so weird that you say that.
What an asshole. What a son of a bitch. Wow. He's gonna have to come. I'm not gonna let him back in when he comes back. I'm just gonna let him.
Let him live in the comments.
Yeah. Sorry, Gary. You're out. You're fucking out. So, Todd, do you just want to continue without Gary then, I guess?
I mean, yeah.
So here's what he brought up a subject. He said, "Hey, what about this?" And then pieces out before we even talk about it.
This next thing? All right.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about this. And then he's just gone. What a dick. Anyway,
for those who are listening or watching and don't know, we've all been friends for a very long time.
Until now. So what Gary was talking about is that Peyton Reed's coming back for the third Ant-Man movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Catherine Newton, Cassie Lang, and cast as King the Conqueror is Jonathan Majors. There he is. Jonathan Majors, star of most recently Lovecraft Country on HBO, which is an incredible series. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking out Lovecraft Country. But what do you think of this casting, Todd? Jonathan Majors as King the Conqueror.
You know, the only experience I have with King the Conqueror is I think some of the early Fantastic Four issues. So he doesn't take a prominent role in the modern Marvel universe. So I think they're going, Lovecraft Country's gaining a lot of steam, and I'm down. I'm in. This sounds like really solid casting. Is the girl that's cast as Cassie, was she the one from Endgame?
No, this is a new casting.
No, this is new casting.
This is new casting for the character. Yeah.
Okay. I really enjoy the Ant-Man movies. Paul Rudd is amazing, and I think having him next to Evangeline Lilly is a great they're a great mashup. And then of course they're with
Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, both of whom are coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, those taking on a more comedic tone, I think was definitely needed. Although they've been good about, sort of putting in some of the comedic beats to break some of the drama, some of the tension. But it's nice to have, in this huge universe of Marvel movies, it's nice to have one that's a little more tongue in cheek, and it's a heist movie. And,
sure.
You got,
that they've often come across as like palate cleansers after like the heaviness of like a Civil War or an Endgame.
Yeah.
Wyatt in our comments wants to know, what if he comes back topless? I think they're not talking about Paul Rudd, who we'd all be very happy to see come back topless. I think he's talking about Gary. What if Gary comes back topless? If he does, then that's going to mean I have to take my shirt off just to fit in, and I don't want to do that right now. So,
Justin, as soon as you do, you'll feel so free.
I don't want to do it. And also Brandon in our comment. Oh, fucking Gary's back. Look, he's not topless though. He's wearing a shirt. So Brandon in our comment says
far
that
off from me being topless on the show.
Come on, Gary.
Brandon says that he looks like a young Senator Palmer from 24. He's talking about Jonathan Majors. First of all, I would say, excuse me, but that's President Palmer. President David Palmer from 24, who was played by Dennis Haysbert in the first season of 24.
I see it.
Yeah. I mean, I can see it, I guess, but yeah, Dennis Haysbert's great. Jonathan Majors is great. I'm excited about him playing Kang the Conqueror. I think that I feel like Kang the Conqueror, and it's a weird thing to bring him in on like an Ant-Man movie, but I feel like he could be a almost Thanos level villain because Kang's got some pretty crazy, like he travels through time, you know, which could come into the quantum realm stuff. I don't know how they're playing it, but yeah, like he travels through other multiverses and stuff, I believe. Like he's very, very powerful.
And I have a feeling some of that's going to get unlocked with Doctor Strange, you know, and all that. And I really hope that there's a likable version of the Fantastic Four coming soon.
Well,
it's funny you bring that up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hold on to your butts. Because they did announce
that because that was like a
Todd doesn't know any of this. Todd has not kept up with any of this. So yes, John Watts was announced. John Watts, who directed Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, is directing the Fantastic Four. It's official. And I like John Watts, and I think that the guy who did Spider-Man should be doing Fantastic Four. I think that's a really good choice because I feel like they're tonally going to be pretty similar. That's probably going to be pretty far down the line because I imagine he's got to do Spider-Man 3 first and then Fantastic Four a couple years later. But I'm glad Fantastic Four is coming within the MCU.
Right. One thing that's brilliant about what he does is that Peter is a brilliant dude, and seeing this guy tackle it, he obviously appreciates the science of it all. And yes, Brandon Goodwin, man, so glad you're here today, Brandon. It's good to have you chiming in on the show because he just threw in John Krasinski and Emily Blunt and nailed it
as Reed and Sue.
Has that been confirmed or is that
no? This is fan casting, but it's great fan casting.
That's been all over the internet for
that should 100% be Ben and Sue or Reed and Sue.
Yeah, and who's going to play the Thing? I don't know.
Dwayne
the Rock Johnson.
He's the Rock.
He is already the Rock. Does the Thing have a rock dick?
That's a good
pretty
question.
sure that was discussed in like Clerks 2 or another Kevin Smith movie.
It's in Mallrats. I think
it's Mallrats. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably similar to the creature in Shape of Water. So we'll go.
Oh, interesting.
Like a flesh PP comes out.
Oh, weird. Like the Rock opens and just a regular, pink wiener
comes out.
That's
weird.
That works.
Yeah, I hate it. No.
And Brandon wants to know, does it finish?
Listen, if it's made of rock, it will definitely finish whoever he's with.
Oh, no.
They are done after that.
Well, so I don't know. I'm excited about John Watts doing that. I think doing a Fantastic Four movie is going to be great. Well, and speaking of like Thanos level characters, Galactus, and don't make him a fucking cloud.
Yeah.
But Galactus, I feel strongly that Galactus could be like the next Thanos level threat. Is the way that should be. Like if you were to build up.
I think the thing I'm excited about with Fantastic Four is the fact that it's the director from Spider-Man, which the big thing that seems to have gotten lost with the Fantastic Four films is that sense of family. And again, I've been reading some of the older Fantastic Four. I have a lengthy Fantastic Four collection, and it's the thing that keeps popping up over and over again is the sense of family. And I think every iteration that's been presented so far has just missed the mark. And I think the family dynamic presented in the Spider-Man movies, although just between Peter and May, is really solid and really believable. And I really hope that makes it into this this iteration of Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean,
The last
Fantastic Four had a good cast, I think.
Yeah,
it was just
they seem to nail that part a
the
little
studio
bit.
just kind of got in the way. You know,
They had a lot of things working against them. Yeah.
So,
well, wait a minute. I want to talk about this some more real quick. I don't know where you guys got to be, but now I'm thinking about this. Why it says Seth Rogen is the Thing. That's an interesting choice. I don't know.
It's honestly not a bad choice.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with the voice.
Yeah. I just want to see the Thing
I
laugh.
said
with
The
that,
Rock.
like
I said
Seth
The
Rogen
Rock
laugh.
is a joke because The Rock is not going to do like just a voice. Like
No, The Rock's not going to do anything where he doesn't get to show off his muscles.
Right.
He works out for 8 hours a day. You got to show that off.
I'm sitting here thinking about it ever since Brandon jumped in here and he started me off. Like Ian said, John Hamm. That's not a bad choice.
For Ben Grimm?
No, I think he was talking Reed. Probably.
I'd say John Hamm for Ben Grimm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, the weird part is what you got to think of with Ben Grimm. You need a gruff voice, but you don't need because the character he's going to be CG. The character's going to be CG.
Right.
But I'm talking about like Ben Grimm pre-transformation he's an Air Force pilot. He's a fighter pilot. Like he's buddies with War Machine. Like that's the dynamic there. So that's the kind of guy that it's, but
he's also sort of
I would believe John Hamm as Ben Grimm.
Gary, I'm going to throw this out there for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles.
Yeah. Okay. So no, that's 100.
Fair enough.
That's actually brilliant. Like that would be perfect. Jensen Ackles, like his voice, it feels like that's dead on. I'm going to throw this in there.
I want to say David Harbour also would be really good from Stranger
Dan
Things.
Stevens, Reed Richards.
Dan Stevens should be James Bond. Honestly,
I think Dan Stevens. And what about
Dan Stevens and everything?
Thinking it through. Samara Weaving, throw her in there, Sue.
I'm all right with that. I like Samara. I'm down with that.
But I just think, well, either way, Dan Stevens and Sam Weaving need to be in the Marvel universe somewhere. But
agreed. Well, Dan Stevens is already Legion. Does that count?
I don't know if it counts. Like
it's on FX, which is owned by Marvel or Disney.
On if they integrate the X-Men universe, because that's where
that's the tough part. It became part of the X universe. I mean, it is after because that was technically William Stryker from X2's son.
Yeah,
but that's tough, man. I don't know.
We're gonna have to maybe chalk that up to the multiverse.
I think so. I think you do because
for so many things.
This is me once again telling everyone to watch Legion because it's really good.
Legion is fantastic. No,
really good.
And Dan
Aubrey
Stevens
Plaza.
is fantastic.
Oh man, Dan Stevens.
I just watched The Guest again the other night.
I've been wanting him to play James Bond for years, and I know we all want them to diversify that character, but also if they don't, cast Dan Stevens. Please.
Hey, listen.
He's already British.
You're right. I'm just saying there are some options out there. Yes, Dan Stevens, Idris Elba, freaking Superman that got tossed around for a while. Henry Cavill and
because he did the whole what was that fucking movie he was in?
Mission Impossible.
Nope.
Superman.
The one where he was the one with Armie Hammer.
Yeah. I forgot. I never saw
Man
it.
from Uncle. Yeah.
God,
all right, so let's get back to our news roundup because we got to wrap this shit up.
Why?
But
I'm
James
just
Gunn
stay up all night. I have to be at work in the morning.
I do have to be at work in the morning. So.
No, I do too.
Okay. James Gunn, who of course is a writer director of Guardians of the Galaxy and the upcoming Suicide Squad, and then the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, is coming back to the MCU for the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special on Disney Plus. He has tweeted saying that he was a big fan, like legit, unironically, a big fan of the Star Wars holiday special when he was a kid and still loves it. So I'm wondering how much of an influence it's going to have. I really hope it has a lot of influence on it because I think that is really fun, where it's just like a Life Day thing, but it's with a bunch of talking trees instead of Wookiees or something. I don't know, but that's coming in. I presumably holiday season 2022.
Oh, I was gonna say they're gonna fucking release that here.
Not this year. It is the holiday season.
Yeah, that's
of 20 of this year, Todd. How do you think movies are made?
I don't know. I'm sitting here shirtless, guys.
And I guess the last bit of news is, so we know that they're doing another Thor movie, Thor: Love and Thunder. I think they've already confirmed that Natalie Portman's coming back as Jane, which is great because she hasn't been in the last. She hasn't been in the Marvel universe since the Dark World. Mm-hmm. She watched it and she's like, I don't think I want to be a part of this anymore. Because,
brilliant move.
Wyatt's at work now, so we're helping him through.
Oh,
so
good.
Just to throw that out.
What do you do, Wyatt?
Yeah, throw that in there. I just hit Brandon a friend request on
He's
Facebook.
the sheriff of Tombstone. He never hears that. Never hears that.
Oh.
Man, isn't Kurt Russell's kid named Wyatt?
I don't know.
Wyatt Russell, does that sound right?
I saw Christmas Chronicles too.
Did you? I know. We talked about it last week. We don't have to talk about it again. Anyway, back to Thor, Thor, Love and Thunder. So that's going out May 6, 2022. We know that. Ian Schultz says that they should just dump the Star Wars Holiday Special on Disney Plus to make 2020 okay. I don't disagree with that. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I own it. I own a bootleg of it, which is really fun because the bootleg that I have also includes. No, I own two copies. I own a bootleg and I own the Riff Tracks version of the Star Wars Holiday Special. Nice. And the bootleg, the Riff Tracks version includes all of the commercial breaks as well.
I was about to say, I remember watching that with you one time, and like it was
the commercials are the best part of it, honestly.
You can do that too, by the way. I mean, just sort of a side note on wrestling stuff. You can look up old episodes of WCW Saturday Night, and they have all the old commercials, and it is insane. Like the stuff you see there. Wyatt is a geospatial analyst.
Wow.
He's drawing rivers.
I bet he designed some kick-ass D&D maps.
So let me get back to my Thor: Love and Thunder. So it's coming out May 6, 2022. We're all excited about it. But the big news was that Mr. Christian Bale, Batman himself, is coming to the MCU as Gore the God Butcher. And I'm guessing that because he is a method actor, Christian Bale, we all know he's going to
cut off his nose.
He's going to cut off his own nose and he's going to dye himself. Is that blue? I'm colorblind. I think that's blue.
It looks bluish.
He's going to file his teeth.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah, he'll do it.
He lost 90 pounds for The Machinist, then gained 200 pounds for Batman. He got all fat to play Dick Cheney, and
gained like 400 pounds to play Justin's mom.
Hey, that's pretty rude, honestly. It's a rude thing to say about Tammy. She's a lovely lady.
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Anyway, that's exciting news, though, right? Gore. I don't know much about Gore the God Butcher. I am less. I know less about Thor's world than just about any other.
I'm not well versed on the Thor.
Yeah, well, the thing is with Thor, he's got there's all those characters, and Thor has like such a weird, jacked up history. He's another one of those characters that's not unlike Iron Man. I feel like where like he's just always been there, but the movies made him like the biggest he's ever been.
Oh yeah, he was always considered like a third tier Marvel character until the movies came along and
he was always super powerful, and you knew he was a god and all of that stuff. Like he was the one that, like, when they ever had the crossovers with DC, it always just we were like, well, I guess all Marvel's got's like Thor, so put him against Superman.
Yeah, because he's actually got powers. And I looked up Gore the God Butcher on Wikipedia here, trying to find a little bit more about him. I'm just going to read. I'm going to read this short paragraph under the powers and abilities section of his Wikipedia page, because it does not help me understand who he is. But it says Gore possesses the all-black Necro Sword, which, according to Galactus, carved the first dawn from the stone of the endless night. The blade was forged by Null, the progenitor of the symbiotes, using the head of a killed Celestial. The blade allows its user to create wings that allow the user to fly at extreme speeds, weapons, and a shroud of berserkers constructed out of darkness. He can create sharp tendrils that can kill any god, including Asgardians. The blade is later banished into a black hole, but an elderly King Thor uses it to battle Galactus. Gore also created the God Bomb, an anti-divinity armament designed to kill every god who has ever or will ever exist. Gore possesses superhuman strength, durability, and endurance, and is also virtually immortal.
Well, I can tell you one thing that won't happen is in the Marvel universe, I can see them using that similar plot line, but they will not call it the God Bomb.
God Bomb sounds like a new metal band.
I love Brandon here, just like Mom used to make. Like all those things, not everything about Gore.
Also, like they're not going to have
God Bomb
Thor
sounds like a shot at a bar. It's just like
the God Bomb is like it's a Godsmack tribute band. That's what it is.
I see some discussion.
I mean, they're not any good.
And
They're
Alliance
not a good
Wrestling.
tribute band.
Jake Al, they're talking about Hercules. Do we ever think we'll see Hercules in the
God
Marvel
damn it,
universe?
I hope not. What a
Only
lame Marvel character.
I feel like
Kevin
that, Alliance says he thinks that Hercules would have shown up by now if he was going to show up, but I feel like that's an easy write off. Like you're just like he just hit out like Aquaman in the DC universe. Like he just gets drunk every night at a bar. Like he just doesn't want to deal with anything.
Yeah.
So like Thor finally has to like seek him out or something. That feels like what you do with Hercules, but
yeah.
Ian was almost named Thor, but then my parents met a donut man called Thor, so that was Nick's. I don't know what a donut man
donuts is. Or a man who sells donuts, or a man who looks like a donut,
or a man made of donuts.
And made of donuts.
Man who looks like a donuts. That was Chris Hemsworth in Endgame, wasn't it?
Oh man, I am not one to. None of us are one to body shame Chris Thor in Endgame. Yeah, see, Todd. Yeah, thank you, Todd. I'm glad Todd's got that Jack Black like confidence.
Yeah, he does. He's throwing it out there. Elias says, "Wasn't Hercules pansexual?"
I think, yeah, I believe so. In the more recent comics,
yeah.
Ian says, "Yes, Hercules is pansexual. I think Hercules is Hercules, and he'll fuck whatever he feels like he wants."
Right,
you didn't bring up Black Panther 2.
Oh, that's because they barely talked about it, but they did say that that they were not going to recast Black Panther in kind of respect to Chadwick Boseman. They're like, Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther, so we're not going to recast. They said Black Panther 2 would instead explore the other characters who were introduced in the first film, which I think is probably a pretty good idea. I feel like
didn't he shoot a bunch of it, or didn't they wrap Principal?
No, they haven't started shooting Black Panther 2 yet.
Why did I think he?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I must be thinking of something else.
I mean, they're shooting other movies. Maybe you're thinking of one of those.
Maybe,
but no, Black Panther. I feel like the coolest character to kind of explore more is the sister, who is what is her name? I can't remember the character's name. Off the top of my head.
Nakia is the name. Right? No, wait. No. It's Shuri.
Shuri, yes. Yeah, I feel like
Letitia Wright.
I feel like Letitia Wright. That's a good character to explore. I feel like because when I first saw Black Panther, honestly, like I was like, what if they do? Because Marvel can sometimes combine or overlap characters in ways that the comic books didn't. I was like, she could be Ironheart. Because she is shown to be like
they would go that route too. Yeah,
I kind of thought that's what they were going to do with her, but obviously
really cool.
We know that that's not the case now.
I was always on board because I didn't want, like, I thought that it too would be weird to recast T'Challa. But I did think one possibility might be that you take Michael B. Jordan, even though it looks like he dies at the end of the first one. Like maybe there was, I feel like you could play that off somehow.
Well, the Black Panther mantle in the comics is something that's passed down. So it would not be unfathomable for Shuri to become the next Black Panther.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
they don't have to recast T'Challa to make a new Black Panther. Basically, in fact, in the comics, I think his sister does become Black Panther at some point.
I believe Storm. He marries Storm, and I think at one point she dons the mantle.
Yeah, but I think more recently his sister becomes, because he I think it's in Ta-Nehisi Coates' run. I think it's in Ta-Nehisi Coates' run on the comic that T'Challa, and please, I am not an expert at this, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but that T'Challa lays down the mantle of Black Panther and his sister takes it up and becomes the Black Panther.
Maybe.
Yeah. I have definitely read that. I can't 100% tell you who the writer was on it.
Since we're talking about Storm briefly there, like I'm curious, like, I mean, how about there's still no mention of the X-Men? Not so far. And even in this explosion, this orgasmic explosion of Marvel stuff, they still no touching the X-Men at all.
I'm okay with that because I feel like there's a lot of baggage with those X-Men movies right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like the New Mutants finally just came out, but it needs some distance, and they don't need the X-Men right now. And there's plenty of other stuff that they can do. They don't need to do the X-Men. So
they feel like a bunch of Spider-Man movies back to back without giving much of a breather. And
yeah, I feel like they need to. I think they know that they need to give the X-Men a little bit of room to get those other movies in the rear view a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Scooby wants to know, will Captain Britain ever enter the MCU? I say yes. And you know the way to do this?
One day, yeah.
I think what you do is Captain America goes down like he did. Like he's faded away. Falcon's trying to pick up the mantle of Captain America, but then the rest of the world starts to panic about the Avengers or some junk. And then they start making their own stuff, right? So that's where you could make Alpha Flight, and you could make Captain Britain and stuff like that. That would be fun. I think that's an idea.
And that What If series that we saw the trailer for, one of the clips that they showed in that trailer was a kind of a play on that where what's her name? Haley Atwell, Peggy Carter, becomes the super soldier, where she volunteers and then becomes essentially a Captain Britain because she is wearing a very similar outfit to what Captain America is wearing, but with the Union Jack on it.
Didn't we get confirmation recently that Deadpool was continuing too?
Yeah, I think that's and they confirmed, and I think they confirmed that it's going to be R-rated as well.
And because they basically hired brand new writers and canned the writers from the last two, which I have some thoughts and feelings about that.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. Why would you can the writers and directors of a very successful franchise?
The article that I read, and unfortunately I don't recall the source because this was probably too.
Hopefully not. We got this covered.
No, it was not. The article said that they were going for more diversity in the writer's room. So they hired two writers from Bob's Burgers and canned the guys that were on the first two movies.
Seems like an odd choice. I've not read anything about that.
Yes. According to Deadline, the sources tell Deadline that Bob's Burgers veterans Wendy Molyneux and Lizzie Molyneux Laughlin, their sisters, will write Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds set to reprise. Writer meetings have been taking place over the past month, with Reynolds recently meeting with a handful of writers to hear their pitches for the next installment. In the end, the studio and Reynolds saw the sisters' take as the perfect fit for what they wanted.
Okay. Wow. Sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So
I'm a big fan of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
yeah, but sometimes you also and maybe the
first two,
but maybe those guys have other things they want to do. I mean, one of them went on.
Maybe
I mean, Tim Miller went on to do like Terminator: Dark Fate, so maybe he's just got other things that he wants to explore and doesn't want to be stuck doing Deadpool movies for the rest of his life.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, they said the second movie's director is still in discussion, but he's got a full schedule. So
things are weird in Hollywood. Anyway,
yeah,
I think that's all the news we got. That's a lot. That was a lot of news. So this was fun. This was exciting.
It was good, and we're thankful for everybody for joining us. Thanks for being a part of this and jumping in and out. Brandon, Jay Cal, Ian Schultz, Scooby, Bunny in the chat right now asking if Todd is wearing pants. I think we're both trying to hit that thing at the same time. He is wearing pants.
I don't know if those are short pants.
Yeah, they're shorts.
Jennifer stopped in to check things out. Ian Schultz, of course. Thank you so much. And of course, the great geospatialist Wyatt.
Don't forget Brandon.
I said Brandon. I said Brandon first.
I'm sorry. Brandon's number one
at the top. Right. That's what I did.
And he says, didn't Marvel confirm Star-Lord to be bisexual? That's actually very recent news. That was like within the last. I saw it today, actually, that the comics confirmed the Star-Lord is bisexual. So that's cool.
Thanks, Brandon. He says this was great. Keep it up.
We gotta stop doing that.
I know we're both trying to click the same thing. I love this comment from Alliance Wrestling. Wolverine.
Yep. Wolverine.
Good comment.
Agreed.
Jake,
I agree.
Ian says, make Deadpool gayer this time. I'm not going to argue that. Do it. Make him gayer.
I feel like Deadpool has been pretty
gay.
Not. I don't know if that's the way I would phrase it, but like he's been pretty. What's the word? It was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. God, I can't think of the word.
No, go ahead, Gary.
Ambiguous. That was the thing I was going to say.
There you go. There you
ambiguous. That's the one. I have trouble with words.
Yeah, words are hard.
My wife is texting me. It was like, "We're me and your mom the only people watching this show tonight." Wrap it up.
Let's not pretend like your mom was watching this show, Gary.
She actually did stop it at one point and said,
"Oh, did she really?"
Your mom's watching. That was, but so yeah, that happened. I just ignored it because moms, right?
I'm like moms.
J Cal says he texted me and said, I just texted Gary, Deadpool existed in the MCU. If you texted me, boss, I didn't get it. I don't have that. So you just texted somebody else about Deadpool and being gay. And Patrick Dunlap, ambiguously gay duo in the MCU? Yes. Ace and Gary.
Not Whiskey Gary this time, Alliance. This is Tequila Gary.
It's Tequila Gary, yeah.
All right, let's get out of here, guys. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Hey, seriously, thank you guys all. This is great. This is our first official live stream, and we really do appreciate everybody for joining us. This is a big
Eventually,
deal.
I'll have a cool backdrop like Gary, and not just this curtain here.
Yeah,
this curtain. And Todd might, if you guys, maybe
we're gonna green screen anything on Todd. It's gonna be a top.
Just Venmo Todd so the man can buy a shirt.
Or maybe some tattoos. I have to shave all this chest hair, put some tattoos, maybe a big Cinema Shock skull. Right here.
I just want you to get Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin right here.
Shout out to Patrick Dunlap saying McCarathon is next weekend.
McCarathon, the 19th and 20th.
Yeah.
So hit up McCarathon. What is that? McCarathon.com, I think. I think that's right. McCarathon.com. Yeah, McCarathon. Which look at my shirt, Patrick. This
Look
is the
at that.
McCarathon shirt from last year.
I had the evil Christmas tree one on like 2 days ago.
Yeah, so we're very excited about McCarathon. McCarathon's a 24-hour Christmas movie marathon that Patrick and our buddy Zach, who's going to be on the episode of the podcast that drops this coming Thursday to talk about The Long Kiss Goodnight. That was a good episode, Todd. You should have been there for it. But we talked a little bit about McCarathon on that, so you guys will hear that soon. But yeah, it's a 24-hour Christmas movie marathon. It's usually a like in-person thing. This year they're going virtual because this year is terrible and everything sucks. But check it out. I think it's going to be on Twitch. We'll tweet out all the information for it for you guys. So
yeah, 100%. Make sure you follow us on all of the brand stuff. It's at cinema_shock. You can hit us up on cinemashock.net. That's where all of the stuff is there. You'll be able to find it. If you happen to go to YouTube ever, make sure to hit subscribe there. And it'd be great. Thanks for everybody joining us. And as Justin was just talking about there, if you aren't familiar with it already, we do have a podcast. It's Cinema Shock, the podcast. You can check that out on anywhere that you get podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, all of the things. And there, the episodes are slowly coming up on YouTube. But we dive deep into different movies, usually under a theme. Right now, we're doing a theme called Black Christmas, where we're doing the films of Shane Black that are set at Christmas time, but typically action films like Lethal Weapon, The Last Boy Scout, Long Kiss Goodnight, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So we're going to be talking about those films, and that's going to continue into next year. We've got themes and ideas planned out, so it'd be cool to have you guys tag along for that. But, of course, subscribe to the YouTube, hit that little bell icon, and let you know anytime we go live, which is going to happen more and more as this thing goes along, because Hollywood's always got some junk going on, and, we want to hang out with you guys and talk about it. So,
and even when there's not a news dump like there was this week, there's still plenty to talk about, or us just shooting the shit and drinking beer or tequila in Gary's case.
Yeah, exactly. We want to hang out with this community, man. You guys are great, and it's fun seeing you guys in the chat and just talking to you, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Like, we just love chilling with you guys and talking about whatever's on your mind. I love the love we got for Netflix. Sometimes Justin takes over with his opinion, and I was glad to have the backup on the Netflix shows today. So thank you guys for that.
Still not a fan of most of those. So sorry. Mostly Iron Fist. It's mostly Iron Fist. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Iron Fist.
Todd will be topless every other episode, I imagine. And or every episode, Brandon Godwin says, Todd stays shirtless. That's a brand. So, his sign off is also Johnny Has the Keys, which nobody likes except Todd. But so just topless Todd on the live streams.
I do not need a bra. I am barrel chested, sir.
Let's get out of here, guys. I got shit to do.
Oh yeah. What Jay Cal said earlier, I just got, I guess, but it was that in that first Deadpool, they have that final fight on a shield helicarrier, and so that's
definitely in the MCU.
Yeah, so he was saying they're in the MCU. But anyway, all right. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next week, may the wings, or whatever we come back on the live show, whatever. May the wings of liberty never leave each other.
Be excellent to each other.
Johnny Has the Keys.